Hey, hey everybody, guess what happened? The power went out and the internet just came back. Hi, I'm back. I will finish this episode. Let me just, I'm restarting everything right now, including my ping tuber software. So let me just start my ping tubing. Yeah, internet just went down for a half second and then came right back. And I was like, okay. Where am I? There I am. Okay. All right. I'm back. Uh, I guess that's all a dark sun. Sorry, what the fuck? That's fine. I think maybe it happened because today's really windy, so that may have been something to do with it. Yeah, today's really windy in Austin. All right, starting up RetroArch again. I blame, you know what I blame? I blame the drink. I blame the drink that I had. I poured it out during the break, and I ate something to settle my tummy. But I have a feeling that that the juice was the tea was cursed, and yeah, cursed tea, and I'm fucked up from it. There we go. Hey, Xena. Always glad to see ya. All right, I have to get one more thing up. I don't have chat up, so I got to get chat up real quick. Thank you all so much. I'm just scrambling to get back to where I was, so I appreciate it. Oh, cool. It just took me back to where I wanted to be. Perfect. All right, hi, everybody. Hi, I can see chat now. Let's go. All right. Hopefully, power won't go out again. If it does, I'll just cancel the stream. But let's see if we can't finish this episode of interactive entertainment. Yeah, the right wing drooler. I love that right wing guy wrote a huge like letter about how not mad he was. That's so funny. Oh my god. All right, time for Deathgate.
It's been a bit of a wait, but Legend has finally released its first CD-ROM.
Oh, stevia. Yeah, I don't like stevia. The only thing worse than stevia is monk fruit, which is my least favorite sweetener of all time.
On the CD-ROM bandwagon, and this story of a sundered world is a great start.
You see, a long time ago, there was a world in major conflict. The two magic-using races, the Patrons and the Sartan, were lording it over the Mensch races, also known as dwarves, elves, and humans.
The Patrons and the Sartan were also at each other's throats. The Patrons were starting to hold more power over the Mensch, and this cheesed off the Sartan so bad that they finally cast a spell that split the world into 5 pieces.
This may possibly be construed as overreacting.
The Mensch were divided among 4 of the 5 new worlds, which retained the properties of the 4 elements: air, fire, stone, and water.
The 5th world was called the Nexus, and it contained the fiendishly intelligent labyrinth where all the patrons were sent. Could those Sartan have possibly been a bit vindictive? Nah.
You are a patron named Haplo, and your teacher, Lord Czar, has managed to break out of the labyrinth and into the Nexus. He has a plan to reunite the world, but he needs your help.
You have to travel from world to world in a magic ship through the Death Gate.
The Death Gate!
You can only travel to a new world by learning that world's naming rune and inscribing it on your navigation stone. The tone of this adventure is quite different from your everyday quest. There is always a question of motivations in Death Gate, especially for Lord Czar. Why is he so intent on reuniting the world?
As a patron, you have been raised with a particular set of beliefs about your own race and about the Sartan. But the more traveling around you do, the more those beliefs are undermined. The Sartan appear to be far more considerate than you expected.
As you can see, the SVGA graphics look terrific.
They sure do.
Among the sharpest I've ever seen in the industry.
Cool monkey
but
guy.
I really wish they moved more. All too often, you have an almost completely static picture with moving lips or something. The pictures have so much implied life in them, and then they don't budge.
You know what? I think you've played too many 3D adventures lately. This is definitely the best-looking Legend game yet.
That's true. I'm just starting to find the Companions of Xanth engine a little stale these days. I do have to admit that the game looks cool. There were so many different styles mixed together in this game, I just found it a little disconcerting. I mean, the 3D animated opening segment looked amazing, and then that's the last you see of that style, except for the stock scene of the ship traveling from world to world. If any animation is supposed to mesh with game events, the pictures suddenly get very pixelated very fast.
Jeez, your expectations must have been pretty high for you to be nitpicking like this. All the animations were really good. I admit that those few scenes were a little pixelated, but I think you only noticed because it was right next to those gorgeous stills in the game. That may have been an error in judgment, but it
Chat, should I
doesn't make
watch
it a worse
Stargate?
game.
I've asked
Oh
this
well,
before,
maybe
but
I'm
I've
just
always been
more
curious.
motion-oriented. Anyway, my favorite part of the game was the magic system. All the spells are based on rune combinations. Whenever you see someone perform a spell, you commit it
I
to memory,
should.
and then
Movie
you
is
not only
great.
have the new
Probably.
spell, but the
Maybe
rune
yes.
that it's
Okay,
based on.
okay.
Which means that if you want to, you can fiddle around with the spells you know to find new ones. Yeah, this is a great way to visually represent magic and make it a much more concrete concept.
The sound is also really great in this game.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm a little confused. The box refers to the game having a symphonic musical score, but it sure
Mhm.
sounded electronic on the Sound Blaster 16.
Well then, it's my guess that symphonic does not mean that an actual symphony orchestra was involved. Perhaps it follows the same structural form as a symphony?
Unlikely. It's probably just one of those attractive sounding adjectives with no real meaning at all. But even then, the music still sounds pretty good.
It's also worth mentioning
Yeah,
that Legend has
it
rather
doesn't mean
cleverly
anything, but
included
it's
a
still
short
good.
online tutorial and a new Deathgate short story by Weiss and Hickman.
Yes, that was a good move. That way, fans of the series who've never played a computer adventure in their life will be able to get right into the swing of things. And more experienced adventure players who've never read
I do
the
like
book
that
will get a
dragon.
taste of the
Pryan.
writing style.
Pryan Ryan.
Overall,
Am I right?
Deathgate is a very strong step forward for Legend. It looks great, sounds great, plays easily, and has lots of challenging puzzles.
It also happens to include a special edition episode of interactive entertainment. But would
Ooh.
we let a silly thing like marketing get in the way of our opinion of this game?
Heck no!
All right. And let's see the pros and cons of Deathgate.
The SVGA graphics look terrific, although they seem to mainly be static pictures with very few moving elements. Magic is based on a series of runes that connect to create spells, and you can make new spells by rearranging the runes. The mapping system is very convenient, including small pictures of the rooms you have visited. The online tutorial is an especially good idea for newcomers.
And the cons.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm really starting to tire of the companions of Xanth Engine. Here's hoping Legend finds another way to do this sort of game in the near future.
We should also try Companions of Xanth. Makes sense. Dragon's Fury and the Legend of Kyrandia series. I actually am interested in playing the Legend of Kyrandia 3, but I think there's actually a review or preview of that in this issue. Donkey Kong Country, huh? Hello.
He's back. Nintendo has
I think
finally
Krungo's
given
working,
everyone's
but Krungo,
favorite
get
ape
your
his
ass
own
in here.
SNES title. Donkey Kong Country doesn't feature Mario or his captured girlfriend, though. Rather, it's a side-scrolling adventure in the Super Mario vein. Games like this one aren't
What's with
rare.
this music?
They're non-existent. Donkey Kong Country is the new king of the hill. Maybe the best SNES game ever made. The most obvious selling point of Donkey Kong Country is its beautiful graphics, most of which were rendered on SGI workstations. The level of detail achieved here is far beyond anything the Super Nintendo has ever seen, and actually surpasses most games available for 32 and 64-bit systems. For those of you thinking of upgrading to a 3DO or Atari Jaguar, take a close look at this game first and you may see that your ancient SNES may be worth keeping for a while. The graphics are great, and so is the game. You control
yeah.
none other than Donkey
This
Kong
is Donkey
himself,
Kong music,
stark
baby.
naked except for his favorite red tie. For most of the game, he is assisted by his little buddy, Diddy Kong, who you can take control of at the touch of a button. As a team, they must make their way through approximately 60 levels in search of Donkey Kong's banana hoard, which was stolen in the middle of the night by reptilian baddies known as Kremlings. Two-player competitive and two-player team modes are also available. The levels are big and for the most part difficult. A lot of jumping is required as many of the levels are tall as well as wide. The weapon of choice for the two
Jumping
Kongs
is involved,
are various,
folks.
and they come in many different flavors. Some aren't even weapons at all. Should ammo run low, the Kongs can deal damage by jumping on an enemy's head, and both Donkey and Diddy have a unique rolling attack as well. You'll need to utilize every skill
roll.
you have in order to win. For all of you whiners who complain that the adventure games are too short and too easy to win, feast on this. Aside from the 60 or so levels that must be completed to reach the end of the game, there are rumors of just as many hidden levels. Needless to say, truly completing this game will take plenty of time. I've been playing for hours and haven't even come close. If it hasn't already, Donkey Kong Country should be on the must-have list of every SNES owner out there. It's that good.
All right, they really like Donkey Kong Country, and fair enough, it's a good game.
I
What are
don't
the
have to get
pros?
specific here. This is the best SNES game out there. Everything about it rules. Everything.
Okay, everything about Donkey Kong Country rules.
Negatives? Well, having to spend 60 something dollars for it is kind of a bummer, but it's a well spent 60 something dollars.
Okay, the only bad thing about Donkey Kong Country, you heard it, is the price. So fair enough. Also try Super Mario World, Mega Man X, and Demon's Crest. All good games. Okay, good taste there. Doom 2.
If you're like most people,
Oh,
Doom 2
it's got
rips you to shreds when you
Doom-O-Vision.
try to play without cheat codes. If so, welcome to the first of 4 installments of Doom 2 Hints and Tips.
Oh,
A
4
series
installments,
brought to
huh?
you by the fanatics at IE and the research crew at Prima Publishing. In this episode, we'll run down each monster found in Doom 2 and tell you how to keep them from eating your brains. To find out how to make something dead, just click on it.
What's Doom-O-Vision? Oh, I see.
If you're scared by these guys,
Oh,
you
this
might as
is
well pack it
cute.
in right
Okay.
now. Their shots can hurt you for up to 15% of your health and armor, but that's an easy problem to fix. 1 or 2 pistol shots brings these guys down. They're not much for aiming, so if you keep moving, you should have no problem. These shotguns aren't toys, so don't let them hit you.
Okay.
A blast from a human sergeant can knock off up to 45% of your health and armor, so don't let it come to that. 3 cracks with a pistol or 1 shotgun blast and he's toast. If you move, he gets confused, so dodge and blast. Imps are really only dangerous in numbers, but those fireballs can hit no matter how far away you are, and they scorch away up to 24% of your health and armor. Shotguns are good for close encounters, but if you see a group from a distance, a rocket can be a lot of fun too. 1 good pop with a single barrel boomstick, and down they go.
Down they go. All right, it's
The
Human
Commandos are by
Commando.
far the best human marksmen in the game, and those chain guns just don't let up. When you hear or see one of these guys, take him out fast. 1 or 2 licks with the super shotgun, and it's splatter time. Like with imps and other humans, a quick dodge left or right followed by an accurate shot will save your hide. The lost souls rush up to you and take a bite for up to 24% damage, so keep them in
Cool
a distance.
skull.
1 shotgun blast will knock them away from you, and a second will toast them. A brief burst of chain gun or plasma fire
Yeah,
will
one
take
of
them
these
out
is
too.
mislabeled.
Lost souls take additional
We did
damage
another
if you
Doom,
die.
and
So maybe
Doom 1, and that had a thing that was mislabeled. Hey, Mark Razor, thank you so much for the follow. It's the Cacodemon.
Cacodemons primarily
Look at
attack
him.
you from a distance by spitting ball lightning at you. They take a while to kill, but there's a way to keep them from firing at you while you do them in. Attack with the chain gun or plasma gun. The streaming attack of these weapons pins the Cacodemon, keeping it from firing at you. Then it's dead.
All right, what about
Although
Hell
nothing to
Knight? I
stop
love
it,
Hell
the
Knight.
Hell Knight certainly
Hell
isn't
Knight
the
is
worst
so
of your fears.
kissable. Oh my
Those plasma
god.
bolts can chew through up to 64% of your health and armor, but this big boy can't take what he dishes out. So just do the dodge and shoot game, and 3 hits with the rocket launcher will take him down. If you can't spare the rockets, 3 or 4 good accurate shots with the super shotgun will do just fine.
Okay. What about
The Mancubus
Mancubus.
looks nasty but dumb, and that's exactly what he is. Those guns fire simultaneous fireballs that tear through you at a good clip. The Mancubus tends to fire in bursts of 3, then pauses to take aim again. If possible, get behind some cover and take pop shots in between his bursts. 4 rockets or 9 shotgun shells will turn him into something gross but non-threatening.
They are the Blowjob Brothers. Yes, the original Barons of Hell.
The Revenant will turn you into a little bit punching
Revenant.
bag if you get too
That's
close
not-
to him. And from a
I like that
distance,
they
he'll
have
cover
guns
you
on
with
their
guided
shoulders.
missiles.
That's
The
cool.
missiles can't track you if they can't see you, so duck around a corner for a quick escape. When you hear the missile detonate against a wall, pop out and toss 2 rockets at the Revenant for a happy ending.
Okay, and
The Pain Elemental
Pain
is
Elemental, I know that guy.
attacking by spitting out lost souls. This creates a living shield you have to blast through to get at the elemental. Back into a defensive position like a corner or a small alcove so you can only be attacked from one direction. The plasma rifle is your best bet here. Sweeping it can get the lost souls out of your face and give you time to direct a few bursts at Mr. Pain. It's hell if it draws a bead on you, but the Arachnotron isn't that tough to kill. Run like hell if a stream of plasma heads your way, then before the Arachnotron has time to adjust its aim, open fire with the chain gun or plasma gun. The streaming effect will pin the arachnotron, rendering it helpless while you shut it down. If you have good cover, 3 rockets will shut this bug down fast. The Baron of Hell is
There
like
he
a
is.
Hell Knight on steroids. It has the same hefty plasma attack, but can take much
He
more
really
damage,
does look like he's
making it
wearing
a
brown
far more deadly
slacks.
opponent. If you're only facing
He's
one
wearing
Baron and
khakis.
nothing else, you can play duck and run and force feed.
Got him on
5
sale
rockets
at
to shut him up.
Kohl's.
If things are busier, a
He has so
BFG
much
blast
Kohl's
would be
cash.
considered a waste of plasma.
Okay, so did they mix up Baron of Hell and the Hell Knight? I don't know enough Doom to tell the difference between them. Okay, well, they shouldn't have done that.
The only good thing about the Archvile is that it can't take much damage.
Okay.
If it sees you, it will hit you with a fire spell. If you see yellow flames on your screen, you've got to get out of the vial's line of sight, and I mean fast. This will shake off the spell and keep you from crisping out. Keep moving to stay out of his sight and lob rockets at him when you
Yeah,
get
he
the
looks like a
chance.
pissed off
3
Martian.
good hits from the launcher, and the Archvile is decaffeinated. The Spider Mastermind is huge, and his chain gun is
These
huge.
are like the spiders we have in our
Lies
house.
in his
We have
speed,
big
as in
spiders.
He ain't got any.
Well, I guess we're moving, so we're gonna have a new kind of
Dragging it.
spider in the
3
house. That's
BFGs
cool.
make him go away, as do 15 rockets. But the best way to deal with Spidey is to get him into a fight with other monsters. Run around the room taking pop shots at whatever happens to be there. If someone misses you and hits the spider, you can sit back and enjoy the fight.
And last but not least,
Without a
the
doubt,
Cyber
the
Demon.
is the nastiest opponent of all. in
He
Doom.
looks
The
cool.
good news is that where there's a Cyber Demon, there's usually an invulnerability sphere, so grab it as fast as you can. He won't fall easy. The Cyber Demon takes 20 rockets or 4 BFG hits to down. If you have to fight him without being invulnerable, your best bet is to induce a fight between the Cyber Demon and anything else that's unlucky enough to be around.
Okay, that's Doom 2 and Doomavision. Oh, we were talking about Ecstatica. Cool. Flash Traffic. I love Flash Traffic. I'm the only one.
For the last couple of months, Psygnosis has been billing Ecstatica as an adventure of unparalleled horror, where the abstract ellipsoid-based graphics are overwhelmed by the terrifying circumstances that unfold, and the player is ultimately frightened out of his or her wits.
Bottom
Doing a stretch
line,
here.
This
Ugh.
is a crock. Ecstatica certainly has its scary moments, but it's not going to give anyone spasms.
A quick plot overview: you're a traveler on horseback, and after many days
Yeah,
of
we've
climbing
played
over
this
rocky
before. I know
mountains,
this
you
now.
can
Oh my
regulate
god,
your
this
fountain.
game.
You find that you have run out of water, so you head into the next town to refill your flask.
The town is full of human corpses and vicious creatures determined to make you a human corpse too. If you try to behave like a reasonable person and run like lightning out of this hellhole, the bridge between you and your horse collapses.
Yeah, it's an
and
everyone
you're
kicks
stuck
your
with
ass
the hero
simulator.
While most of the shots in this review show a male protagonist, it's worth mentioning that you do have the option of playing a female.
And she's cute too.
Well, yeah, if you go for women who are completely ellipsoid-based, and who doesn't?
Who
Basically,
doesn't love
the answer
ellipsoid
is the town is
babes?
under a curse, and you have to figure out why and how to stop it. Along the way, you risk bodily harm, personal disgust, and transformation into numerous small animals.
This, by the way, is one of our biggest arguments against the idea that this game is somehow terrifying. When you look at these graphics, I admit they're good, but the word cute comes to mind.
Okay, well, this isn't so cute. No matter what style you use.
That
to
guy
depict
got
them,
crucified the wrong way.
depictions
You're
aren't ever
crucifying
cute.
him
Unless, of
wrong.
course, the crucifixie is Barney the dinosaur. But enough pandering to the audience. We digress.
There are a number of bloody and icky things that the monsters have done to the residents of the town. You can't throw a rat without hitting a mutilated cadaver.
Incidentally, you can pick up the rats. I have no idea why, but I thought I'd mention it.
Thank you. We're all grateful. I'm sure it was a deliberate move, but I think they went a little far in the simplification of gameplay. All you can control in this game is when you punch, where you walk, what you pick up, and what you put down. There are no special commands. If you have the right item at the right time, your character just does the right thing without any help from you.
I kind of
And there's
prefer
no
that, but that's
inventory of
me.
your pockets. Apparently, your tights are a bit too constricting to let anything else in, because all you carry is what's in your hands.
For that matter, there's no information screen at all to tell you important things like how much health you have left. What you see is what you get. You have to figure out how close you are to death by how much your character is limping.
In an odd exception to the simplification rule, the 12 function keys are taken up with 12 subtly shaded variations on character movement speed. You cannot convince me that this was efficient.
I'm kind of worried that our viewers will think we didn't like this game. All we've done so far is contradict the company party line and complain.
Honestly, folks, whether or not this game reduces you to a quivering wreck is not important. The fact is, the combination of the almost humorous character design and the creepy goings-on give Ecstatica an atmosphere like nothing you've ever experienced.
And the designer was completely aware of that incongruity. There are some moments of outrageous and irreverent humor. I found myself laughing a lot more than shivering.
In a way, that humorous overtone makes the horror even more surprising and effective.
Oh yeah, you get
Take a look
attacked
at
by
this
apes in this one. I remember
Not
that.
sight, is it? But
We
this
got our
thing
ass
just
kicked by
will
apes.
not die. You keep coming back life after life trying to wipe this guy out, and he'll keep on killing you.
That's another argument for some kind of hit point counter, or at least an easier way to tell that you aren't affecting the wolf than trial and error.
Oh, like you've got something better to do?
So why did Psygnosis give this game such a push toward the horror market?
Well, it's definitely a game for adults and deserves the box warning saying that it may not be suitable for players under 17. My theory is that it's too hard to find a market for a product this unique, so they lumped it in with the closest thing they could think of, which is horror.
I can understand that reasoning, I guess, but this game could appeal to so many more people than just gore freaks, and I think they'd find it too tame. How is this game ever going to find its audience?
I wish I
That's
ran
why
into
we're
that
here.
guy. I really
Yeah.
like them.
The changing camera angles will probably remind you of the Alone in the Dark series, and it probably has more in common with those games than anything else, but they still aren't very much alike.
Ecstatica is really unique. It's a horror, comedy, fantasy adventure game with great graphics, and it's just hard enough to keep you coming back to make that extra inch of progress without getting frustrated. It's a lot of creepy fun.
Creepy fun.
The game is visually compelling, and it's easy to get addicted. It's great to see a product that isn't hemmed in by artificial genre restrictions. The graphics are excellent, as are the sounds and digitized speech. There are also several levels of installation depth, so you can load the whole darn thing onto your hard drive, stream all of it off the CD-ROM, or somewhere in between.
And the cons.
The graphic design is a little too simplified. A character should be able to carry more than 2 items at once, and there should be some kind of pop-up chart telling you how much health you have left.
We should also try, let me guess, Alone in the Dark series, of course, and Relentless. All right, next up is Flash Traffic, classic of game.
Okay, that's it. I'm fed up. This interactive movie crap has gone far enough.
What are you whining about now?
Flash Traffic, City of Angels from Tsunami and Time Warner. It's a bad cop movie wasting 3 CD-ROMs worth of space.
Okay, calm down. Isn't this the game that describes itself as an all-video interactive techno thriller?
It
I mean,
is.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yes, it's all video. So is A Current Affair. So is Family Feud. Does that make it worthwhile programming?
But Flash Traffic is also interactive. Surely that's worth the money.
Yeah, right. Flash Traffic is as interactive as a choose-your-own-adventure book.
I'm sensing some hostility here. What's the story of Flash Traffic?
Well, there's a guy who's made his own H-bomb from household materials, and you, the FBI guy, have to find it somewhere in Los Angeles.
Sounds pretty good so far.
What do you mean, so far? That's it. That's your 3 CDs worth of game.
Okay, but there could be a lot of excitement in that premise. You know, a race against time, an unpredictable maniac, and then...
Trust me, you don't want to use the word unpredictable anywhere in connection with this game. That's what I'm talking about with the interactive movie stuff. A lot of game designers seem to think that movie has to mean the cranked out formula pictures that Hollywood loves to fill our video stores with.
I
So
feel
you're
the
saying
same
that
way
Flash
about
Traffic
video
is not
games being
exactly
movies
the
now,
French
too.
Connection? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Flash Traffic is more like The Rookie or The Hard Way, especially when it comes to dialogue. Compared to these characters, Joe Friday comes off sounding like Voltaire.
You know, this sounds a lot like the reaction you had to the Psychotron a few months back.
Ah, yes. I'd almost managed to forget the Psychotron.
I love
A lot of video,
Psychotron too.
a
I
lot of
love
pathetic
these
writing,
weird FMV
5
games. I'm
hours of play
sorry.
tops. But you know what? Flash Traffic is genuinely worse.
Okay, you can't just make a statement like that without backing it up.
Well, however painful Psychotron was, at least the video quality was really good, and it only took up 1 CD. I
True.
played through Psychotron in about 4 hours. It only took me 2.5 to finish Flash Traffic, and it takes up...
I know. 3 CDs.
And just look at this picture quality. I know the technology is still new and has a long way to go, but I have seen much, much better than this. The whole game feels like you're looking at it through a screen door.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't look that bad. I've heard some very good things about the MPEG version. Besides, it's almost impossible to get a sharp image onto a PC from video.
Yeah, but these guys were so determined to stick with video that they even held up the pertinent documents to the camera.
Yeah,
instead of
this
giving you a nice
part.
legible text file.
This part
Oh
sucked.
dear, oh dear. I'm
That
looking at the
sucked.
world through my eyes.
And even considering the sad and simple engine, there's still a lot of segment looping that should never take place in a, quote, race against time.
Oh, I remember this part. We had to convince him he was
There are women in
dying.
the audience.
Okay, this guy
It
needs
just
to be
seemed like
convinced to
another
talk,
sad
and the best
case
way is to fool
of
him into
people
thinking
killing
he's
each other.
radioactive.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
gets a red clip put on his shirt, and he seems to be much more eager to talk. But if you ask the wrong question, he gets his pre-nuke attitude back, and the same video plays again. The red clip is even gone again.
You mean you have to ask the same questions all over again to get back where you were? Boy, that sounds intensely annoying.
This thing was really produced on the cheap to try to get a piece of the multi-CD game action. It's riding on the coattails of Under a Killing Moon and Phantasmagoria, and that makes me a bit ill.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Forget the fact that other games involved several years of production and very sophisticated graphics. We're charging the same amount for what we made with
Training
our
system.
camcorder in less
Always
time than
cover
it
the
takes
system
Hollywood to make a
component.
new Police Academy movie.
Extra
So
mundane.
now
Thanks for
you
the
see why I'm
follow.
upset about flash traffic.
Sure, if this game actually manages to sell a lot, it'll convince the makers that it's a good idea to keep doing pathetic things like this.
And that would be a pretty sad state of affairs for the industry, wouldn't it?
You're darn tootin'. We can't let that happen. Folks, don't buy flash traffic. We've got to send a message to Washington, Time Warner. We're as mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore.
Very nice. FM with a touch of Jimmy Stewart.
All right, but let's see the pros and cons. Maybe there's something they like about this.
Okay. The box is quite attractive.
Okay.
And the cons.
Do you know how many bad cop movies you can rent for the price of this game? All of them. Take the hint.
But I want to be in the middle of a bad cop movie. Come on. Let's try the Psychotron and Under a Killing Moon. Done and done. All right, next up, Flight Commander 2.0.
Avalon Hill has finally decided that it wants to be a serious computer game company. Witness the fact that it actually released 4 games in 1994 and has quite a few more promising releases in the pipeline. But it's easy to tell that this company's roots are in board games.
Even in Flight Commander 2, a simulation that includes tactical combat operations featuring planes dating from the 1950s to the present, the board game background is still readily apparent. Thanks to its turn-based gameplay, FC2 looks and feels just like the board game it's based on.
The game includes all the basic maneuvers that make up flight operations, including turns, banks, dives, and changes in airspeed. However, putting all of this into a turn-based format, eliminating the pressure of getting blown out of the sky by the computer in real-time conditions, gives
You know, I've never
FC2
seen
some added
Network.
flexibility.
In other words, you're
It's been a
trying to
movie
say
I've
this
been
is a
meaning to
tactical
see.
simulation that even I could enjoy?
I didn't
I
want
know
to
the
put it that
references,
boldly,
though.
but I guess it's true. If you've always been overwhelmed by the technical demands of those kinds of sims, this would be a good game to help you overcome those irrational fears.
FC2 is built around a series of missions which include a number of different scenarios that cover various conflicts, both real and hypothetical. You're given your orders via a briefing. Once you've selected your mission, you're taken to the main screen where you arrive in the general area of your mission.
Hey, you can
The
actually
interface is
read this,
extremely
unlike Flash
simple and easy to
Traffic.
use. You see your aircraft as icons on the main screen, and you can control your plane simply by clicking on various boxes that surround the main screen. After you've given individual orders to each of your aircraft, you sit back and execute the action phase. Then give another round of orders when the next turn begins.
The main strength of FC2 is its flexibility. While it's simple enough for beginners, it includes a large number of optional features that allow you to create a game that's guaranteed to give you the same kind of king-size headache that real pilots get.
Yay,
Strangely
I
enough,
love
the
headaches.
manual for FC2 doesn't read like a jet propulsion textbook, so it's actually rather helpful. The instructions are
What's
clear,
the
and
weird
game
sequel,
includes a
quasi-sequel
series
to
of
Network
tutorials
called?
which
I don't think I've
explain
heard
all
of
game's
that.
functions.
The campaign feature builds on the strength of FC2's individual missions. The basic campaign strings together several missions designed to achieve a single objective.
At the start of each mission, you're given a chance to build your own team.
They should have
There's
made
a
a
roster
bunch of
pilots who have
sequels
various
to
strengths and
Network in the
weaknesses,
style
and your
of
job is to put them together in as efficient a
the
manner as
airport movies
possible.
like
The five
Network
major
77,
campaigns
Network
include Vietnam,
76, you
NATO
know?
versus Warsaw Pact, Falkland Islands, and the
Blunt
Persian
talk.
Gulf.
Okay,
The
okay,
scenario
I will look that
generator
up.
lets you determine the two opponents, the level of difficulty, and the time period in which you'll be fighting.
This game isn't limited to the usual short list of suspects when it comes to aircraft either. You'll have 112 different aircraft from 37 different countries to choose from.
There is a large database included with the game which gives you all the information you could possibly want on the aircraft in FC2.
And if you get tired of completely humiliating the computer, or vice versa, you can compete against a friend, or you can play by email.
In the end, what we have in Flight Commander 2 is a typical Avalon Hill game. No glitter, but lots of substance. Some purists might be offended by the notion of a Windows game where you fly
From
icons,
2015?
but most gamers are going to appreciate the fact that FC2 has good graphics, solid gameplay, and is virtually bug-free. FC2 works very well.
Did America
and that's
have
pretty
network
high praise.
fever in 2015 or something? Anyways, let's see the pros and the cons.
Flexibility is the main strength of Flight Commander 2. There are a number of options available which allow you to make the game extremely easy or very challenging. Your choices extend to actual gameplay, where you can fly single battles or lengthy missions.
And the cons?
If you're into complicated tactical sims, you probably won't
Produced
be
by
impressed
Seth
Flight Commander 2.
MacFarlane? Okay.
It's a Windows game that's turn-based
Someone's
instead of
work.
real-time.
Someone's actually
And it's
working in
designed
another
to
room in
appeal
the
to
house.
beginning
I
gamers
need to
as well as
quiet
experienced
down.
players.
But Seth, what are you doing? What are any Patrick? I guess he was friends with Patrick. You know, I don't need to think about this. Let's move on. Flight Commander, World War II, and Harrier are games you should also try if you like Flight Commander 2.0. All right, next up, Front Page Football.
Are you the type who herd your family into the living room on Monday night against their will so they can listen to Hank Williams Jr. croon? Are you
No.
the type who doesn't trust TV statisticians and instead keeps your own game stats on a piece of paper?
No.
I don't just watch football, I live it.
Few activities generate more conversation among men than football. Sierra Online must have plenty of football
You
fans
forgot
on their
about
development team
babes.
to be
Men
able
love
bring
to talk
one
about
football game as
babes,
magnificent
too.
as Football Pro 95. This game is as good as it gets.
Yeah, sure, I would have liked to have owned this game at the beginning of the football season, but Football Pro 95 is certainly worth the wait. It combines great gameplay with the most complete set of coaching and management functions I've ever seen.
And for the most part, it's all simple enough to allow anyone to play it. Football Pro can be played in a number of ways, and like any of the front page sports games, it lets you choose which of its many facets you want to control and which ones you want your
Yeah,
PC to
Babe,
handle for you.
Seinfeld,
The
and
quick start menu
football.
option
Those
takes
were
you
the
straight to an
three
exhibition
things that
game.
men would
The game
talk
is
about in the
played
mid
two modes,
90s.
play calling mode and action mode. Both of these modes can be set
Now,
to one
if
of
you
three
were an
levels of
alternative
difficulty,
man,
so
you could
can
talk
base your own
about
style.
vampire
For instance,
babes.
if you prefer an arcadish type of play, similar to the football games made for the SNES and Genesis, you can set the play calling mode to basic and the action mode to advanced. Beware though, this game is a finely tuned machine. Unlike console football games, which are really more of a test of your hand-eye coordination than anything else, Football Pro accurately recreates real game conditions.
By that he means that you're not going to be able to run 20-yard reverses or Hail Mary touchdown bombs on every play. The PC plays you tough, and getting used to the quarterbacking controls takes a bit of time. The running game is definitely safer than the passing game, but you'll have to mix it up to win.
On the other hand, if strategy is more your thing, let the computer control the action and devote yourself to calling the plays and making the substitutions. The computer executes plays
Yeah, I
very
usually don't
realistically,
associate
and
Sierra
playing
in
this
any
way
way
is
with
much less
football.
difficult than controlling everything under the sun.
While you could spend hours on end just playing exhibition games and having a great time doing so, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't take advantage of Football Pro's league features.
Since it's licensed by the NFL Players Association, Football Pro ships with the true 1992, 93, and 94 rosters. for every
Yo,
NFL
we
team.
got
You can
Rodney
choose to take
Hampton.
control over one or more of the teams and play through a real NFL season complete
I
with
haven't heard of any of
injuries,
these guys.
trades,
I'm so
and maybe
sorry.
most importantly, a college draft. Yes, you heard right, a college draft.
Is this cool or what? The PC will draft for the teams that are computer controlled, but for human controlled teams, Football Pro gives you the option of selecting manually or building a draft profile.
The draft profile is filled out before the draft begins. In it, you tell the PC which position, linebacker, receiver, etc., you would like to draft in each round and which attributes are most important to you. When your turn comes up in the draft, the PC will search the available players and automatically select the most appropriate one, according to what you told it in the profile. This is also the quickest way to build a new team from scratch.
Among the more cosmetic options available to you when you create a new team are the ability to customize uniform colors and the ability to rename and renumber your players. If you have a lot, and I mean a lot of time on your hands, go ahead and rename your entire team. And put yourself as the quarterback, of course.
I guess it's okay to dream. Better not dream too long while playing Football Pro, though, or the harsh realities of the sport will smack you awake. unless you choose to turn them off before beginning your season. Major
Yeah,
throwbacks like
turn off
fatigue and
fumbles,
injury will hit
baby,
your
and
players, causing you to
injuries.
make some roster changes faster than you'd want to. Of course, you can make the computer take care of
I
this.
wish I could turn
What a
off
great
fumbles
game.
in real
You want
life.
stats? We got stats. Virtually every stat kept by the NFL is kept here. Season stats, game stats.
I
team
wish I could
stats,
turn on more
individual stats,
fumbles,
Stats on
actually.
how many different kind of stats there are. Stats about your mother. They're all in Football Pro.
Well, maybe not all of them, but most of them for sure. Speaking of stats, what do you do if your stats are bad at halftime? What do you change for the second half? Believe it or not, the depth of Football Pro actually extends in a way to the coach's halftime speeches. You can fiddle with your offensive and defensive play.
My halftime speech would be like, "Stop sucking,
Well,
do
we're trying to
good."
avoid slobbering here, but as you can see, we're failing miserably. The truth is that this is, at the very least, the best football game out there and possibly even the best sports game, period.
No game has the depth of Football
All right,
Pro
Front Page
95.
Sports,
It
best
gives you
game,
complete
period.
Control over the coaching and playing process, and really hits the mark in the graphics and sound departments. If there's a flaw, it's that the action mode is a little too hard to work with. But like with any other game, practice makes perfect, and it should be easy to overcome that problem. Hats off to Sierra. They've done some practicing of their own, and the result is a perfect game.
Okay, and the pros?
Hey, you know you've got a good game when the word pro is in the title. Football Pro oozes detail. From the playing field conditions to the touchdown dances to the accurate rating systems. It's got the real players, the real stadiums, the real weather. It's real good. Yeah.
And the cons?
Well, the manual is a bit long, and the extra plays included with the game take up a lot of hard drive space. Sorry, but that's about it.
We should also try Ultimate Football, Pro League Football, and of course, Madden Football. Great Naval Battles 3.
So, you loved Great Naval Battles 2, but you wish that you could have had a little more control over certain elements of the game?
Uh-huh.
Don't worry, SSI felt your pain, and its upcoming Great Naval Battles 3 includes some new toys that you'll enjoy playing with. This naval strategy simulation will use the same basic system as its predecessor, GNB2, so the look will be the same. However, the scope of the game has changed. While Great Naval Battles 2 covered the sea battles around the Guadalcanal in 1942, its sequel covers the whole of the Pacific War from 1941 to 1945. Other notable changes are a scenario editor, something no present-day simulation is complete without, and a customizer screen, which allows you to have a say in the effect of weapons in battle. The
Okay.
scenario editor allows you to complete your own campaign on one of 4 different maps, including Midway, the Solomons, and the Philippines. All of the available American and Japanese ships, subs, and aircraft will be available, but there is one twist.
What?
The editor is historically accurate. In other words, if your scenario is set in November of 1942, and you try to include an F6, your choice will be rejected, since the F6 wasn't available until December of 1942. The customizer screen is a way of setting a difficulty level. You can tinker with the value and effects of each weapon in the game. This is a way of compensating if you feel that the Japanese have an unfair edge, or if you're just too lazy to learn to play the game well enough to beat your enemy without any help. The campaigns within Great Naval Battles 3 will be shorter than those in GNB2, but more of them will be available. There's also a random battle generator. The game, which will be available only on CD-ROM, will run in real time, and the player in a hurry will be able to increase game speed up to 16 times. There's also a
Can
new
I increase
window
it to
available
80?
which should cut down on the number of times you have to drop out of the main menu. This window gives you an outside view which lets you see what's going on in your battle without having to leave the main screen. The game will include all of the major ships and naval aircraft for both the Japanese and American sides from 1938 to 1945. Older ships from World War I that were still in service during World War II, such as the USS Wyoming, will also be available. GNB3's designers feel that the main menu and interface options should make it easier to load and unload ships, and that launching search missions
This
should
is
be
still
easier than
very
ever.
obtuse
The
to
game will
me.
feature fully digitized speech, and for those who really lust for historical accuracy, a Japanese language version will be available. Great Naval Battles 2 was a strong simulation, but based on the feedback from customers, SSI felt there was room for improvement. With a wider range of battles available, along with the addition of a scenario editor and the customizer screen, Great Naval Battles 3 should be another successful entry in this series. To see the transcript of IE's interview with Great Naval Battles 3 designer James Young, click your left mouse button and go to full text.
I'm not reading through
So-
the entire article, but that That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Nice interview. All you Great Naval Battles Volume 3 freaks, check out this issue of IE. Next up, Hammer of the Gods.
Riddle me this, Batman. When is a game pack not a game pack?
I don't know. When it's ajar?
You're not very good at this, are you? The answer is when it's Hodge and
Oh,
Podge.
I guess I
the
accidentally
board
picked
game
Hodge and
combination
Podge.
Thing from Boffo and
Boffo!
Virgin Interactive.
I don't think I get that one.
Here's a quick plot rundown. Hodge and Podge are two identical twins out searching the kingdom of Potpourri for the twin princesses Mish and Mosh, kidnapped by the evil Prime Minister Salmagundi. Whichever brother returns the princesses to the castle gets to pick one to marry.
That sounds like a pretty straightforward fairy tale plot.
Except that this game is from the mind of Steve Maretsky, creator of Planetfall, Leather Goddesses of Phobos, and Superhero League of Hoboken.
Oh.
Scratch that last statement.
The two brothers compete in standard board game form with a spinner determining how far you can go on a turn. Along the way, you need to collect information, magic items, and money.
That's where the game pack question comes in. In order to get those things, you have to play through the mini-games strewn throughout the kingdom.
You probably won't have to play through every single one of them on your quest, but there are 19 different mini-games to play.
And this
Too
does
many.
not mean adventure-type puzzles that you solve once and never want to look at again. These are all games with pretty heavy replayability, from word games to cryptograms and word finds,
To new adaptations of arcade classics like Pac-Man and Space Invaders.
to card games like poker and barbershop quintet. There's a lot of stuff in this package, and most of it's highly addictive.
When you do particularly well on a mini, you get a clue, or a gold reward, or an item. You'll need to know where the princesses are being held, and you need to bring the right items to terrorize the kidnappers. You can
Okay.
use the money to buy either of those things.
And when you finally manage to get the princess, you may have to face your jealous brother. In a last-ditch effort to win, he challenges you to any one of the 19 minis. If he succeeds, he'll take the princess away.
Of course, you can always follow by challenging him right back, but sooner or later, somebody's going to get to the palace.
Okay, that still doesn't sound like much of a game pack.
Exactly. And yet it is. You don't have to play the board game at all. You can just concentrate on the mini games. Either just play your favorites, or you can take the grand tour and go through them all either alphabetically, geographically, or randomly.
This versatility makes Hodge and Podge a game that almost anyone will enjoy in some way. If you're like me, you might be turned off by the strategy game Life, but really get a kick out of playing a game of Battlefish with the local squid.
Well, I could care less about Battlefish, but I really love to unscramble the pictures and art parts.
Why?
All this stuff would be cool enough played straight, but the Moretsky wit is laced throughout the whole game. Even the game rules have a couple of giggles in them. In Archeroids, the medieval space invaders on its side, the archers are supposedly attacking you because they got too excited after a sugar binge.
And if you have a little game time to kill, try clicking on the background objects in most of the games. They may seem to be just nice, pretty pictures.
Oh,
but
hey,
Moretsky has
word
hidden away what he calls
search.
Easter eggs, which can
Man,
turn a
I should
simple
play Hodge and
backyard scene
Podge.
into a surreal playground.
Like oink, man.
The sounds are pretty funny. The visuals are terrific. The mini games are addictive as all get out. Is there any bad thing you can say about Hodge and Podge?
Yes, after a great deal of consideration, I've decided that 19 games are not enough. Surely they could have come up with another game to round the number to 20?
That's what the board game is, silly. And you say I'm no good at riddles?
Okay, let's see the pros and cons of Hodge and Podge.
This is a low-key classic. There are so many different ways to play that everyone will find something to love in this package. Keep an eye and ear out for the hilarious Easter eggs hidden away in the background.
Cons.
The CD is not full enough. Having crammed 19 games on there already, why not go for 20 or 30? Oh well, that's what sequels are for.
Chad, I'm pretty sure there wasn't a sequel to Hodge and Podge, right? Anyways, we should also try Russian Six Pack, Solitaire's Journey, and Superhero League of Hoboken. Superhero League of Hoboken is a game I've been meaning to try, so, All right, now let's see Hammer of the Gods.
You know, at first I doubted that Holistic Designs could top their previous strategy game Merchant Prince, but I have to confess that I really love Hammer of the Gods.
What's to love? You wander
The
around,
sequel
you
was
attack
Final
cities.
Fantasy
If you win,
VII
you can choose
Rebirth.
to
Got
raid,
it.
plunder, or raise it. I don't understand the point of this at all.
Raiding takes only a few movement points, but only nets you a small percentage of the city's stores. Raising levels the city, leaving a ruin, and yields all of the city's stored gold, but costs all of your remaining move points. Plundering is about half and half on all counts.
I still don't get the point. What's the difference?
The Vikings made their living as coastal raiders. If you raise all of the cities within close sailing distance, kiss your income goodbye.
I still didn't enjoy this game much. Why bother to conquer cities? I mean, they have food and wares values that they generate, but they don't produce anything.
Dude, it's not Master of Magic. The point of the game isn't to conquer cities, it's to complete the series of quests in the quest tree. Ultimately, these lead you to Odin's Quest. The first player to complete this wins the game and becomes Hammer of the Gods. There are really only a couple of different types of quests. Raid something, kill something, explore a number of map squares, offer your daughter's hand in marriage, that sort of thing. The actual details of the quests get harder the further into the game you get. For instance, an easy quest might be raid
I
any
like
one village,
RPGs.
while a
I
harder
just
quest would be raid any 4 birds. A bird
I
being
just don't play a
tougher
lot
and
of.
better defended than a village.
I actually really do like
You
RPGs.
can't
I just don't
pick any
stream a lot of
level.
them.
You can only work on one quest at a time, and it has to be one that branches
Chat,
off
how
from
does
the
my
quest tree
tummy
you
still
want to
hurt?
finish.
Looks like the technology
From that
tree from Master
drink?
of Orion.
It's kind of like that, only in Hammer, climbing the tree is actually the point of the game. Imagine that you were playing Master of Orion, but instead of conquering the galaxy to win, you had to develop, I don't know,
I poured it
Stargates or
down the
something.
sink during
Finishing a quest
intermission.
earns you a reward
so
from
it's
the god who
gone.
assigned it to you. This takes the form
But-
of free hero and special
Here,
trooper,
if you
magic
missed it, I'll
items, and
show
spells.
everybody the
Part of
terrible drink I
strategy in the
had.
game involves
Excuse
balancing the
me.
difficulty of the quest you choose with the reward you
Chat.
get for finishing it, as well as the quests it'll lead you to.
So the focus
Sorry
of the
to
game
interrupt,
really had
Hammer of
almost
the
nothing to
Gods,
do
but
with the
chat,
big
don't drink
tile-based map
this.
you move
It-
units around on.
Don't drink it.
Well,
It tastes
except
like
that
peach
that's where completing
cheese.
the quest actually occurs.
And you
I
don't
do
see
need
this as a problem.
Pepto-Bismol. I have
Well,
some
it's
around here
different,
somewhere.
But no, I don't think it's bad just because it's different.
So enough about the quest tree. What about the rest of the game?
It's not so different from other tile-based strategy games on that count. You move units around exploring the map. Like Merchant Prince, the unexplored areas of the map aren't covered with blankness. They're overlaid with a sepia-toned representation of the map as you know it, which gets less accurate the further you get from your home city.
I have to admit, this is one innovation I wish other strategy game developers would steal.
When you move a unit into a neutral or enemy city, battle breaks out. Battle takes
Adaptogens
place on the
are
side
the
of
new
you
health
fighting the enemy.
craze, and I
The
don't like
animations during
them.
combat are pretty good, though not earth-shaking. And surprisingly, although it's
I like
not
that dragon,
award-winning,
though.
the tactical display actually allows
That's
you
what's
to
going on
employ
in my
some
tummy
simple
right now.
tactics.
What a concept.
Possibly one of the best elements in the game is the use of diplomacy. In addition to the usual peace treaties and trade agreements, you can agree to exchange just about anything: money, map information, spells, or your daughter's hand in marriage.
Tell you what I do like. I like the fact that you can choose how you offer a deal. You can tell an opponent, here, have this gold. Or, I offer you this gift of gold in exchange for map information. Or you can say, give me the map info I want or I'll come over there and kick your Nordic butt.
Okay.
I also like the fact that treaties are more enforceable than in most strategy games. If you've ever had to change government types in order to eliminate an enemy unit parked on one of your city's production squares in Civ, you know what I mean. Breaking a treaty
Ginseng
results
is
in a
like
loss of
fine
honor, which
though.
affects the way the
I'd love
computer
if it had
players and your own
ginseng in
troops
it.
respond
Instead,
to,
it's got
and will
like
also make it harder to complete
ashwagandha.
certain quests.
You can also offer up your son.
It's
as a
gone now. It
hostage
can't
for
hurt us
agreeing to a
anymore.
peace treaty. Break the treaty, and the kid gets the axe. I'm saddened to confess, though, that there are a couple of problems with Hammer of the Gods.
No.
Are these gameplay problems or other problems?
A little of both. My biggest gripe with it
Yeah,
is that after a
adaptogens are
while,
just the new
panning
health
off across the
buzz
screen cause
thing.
all sorts of nasty graphics.
I've had drinks with
The manual
adaptogens that have
mentions
tasted
that
good,
this
but
might
they
be a
also
problem
like
for mice that aren't 100%
seem
Microsoft
to
compatible,
try to.
but
But
it
they
ain't like
seem.
my Logitech
I've had
mouse
drinks that
with
try to
some
balance out the
$9.95
adaptogens, and those are
knockoff.
pretty good.
Well, that's not too bad. The early
But a
releases
lot
of
of them
Merchant
don't
Prince had
do
a similar
that, like
problem,
this
but it was
one,
fixed in an
and it's
upgrade,
no
And
good.
I expect the same will happen with Hammer.
Overall, I like Hammer of the Gods. It's got kind of a weird feel to it, very different from your traditional explore and exploit strategy game. But if you're into raping and pillaging in the name of Thor,
Not really.
of course, Hammer captures the essence of Viking culture superbly.
I have to admit, I do like the fact that you have a clear-cut goal. Call me a purist, but I like games you can win.
Besides, how can you not like a game where the description of the cause fear spell says, and I quote, a successful fear spell causes the target to scream like a girly man and immediately leave the field of combat.
Yeah, let's just ignore.
You know, at
Let's
first,
just ignore what he said there. Let's check out the
this
pros
game
and
is a living
cons.
example of why all strategy games ought to be SVGA. The artwork isn't uniformly stunning, but because the game runs in 640 by 400 resolution, all of it looks better than recent VGA releases from other companies. The interface is simple to use and easy to figure out without a lot of manual thumbing. And the game has simply the best diplomacy engine found in a strategy game yet.
Cons?
Some minor bugs in the release version can get extremely annoying at times. Also, Hammer's style of gameplay, where the object isn't to build up a million florins or conquer the whole map, may not be to the taste of many mainstream strategy fans.
Well, maybe mainstream strategy fans should also try Merchant Prince, Master of Magic, and Warlords too. Or not. I can't tell you what to do. John Madden Football 95, baby!
If you were to ask any Genesis owner out there which game company makes the best sports games, you'd get a pretty overwhelming answer: Electronic Arts. Though EA's monopoly on the genre has been nibbled away in recent years by companies like Tecmo and Sega, EA is still considered king of the hill. Every year around Thanksgiving, we're blessed with a new installment of Madden Football.
We are.
Each year brings some new addition to this established game. As you would expect, Madden 95 has the real teams, the real players, a real season, and some real stats. But this isn't even Madden 95's strong point. Where this game really shines is in the realistic gameplay, artificial intelligence, and the overall feel of being in the middle of a professional football season. The artificial intelligence in Madden 95 is some of the best I've seen. The computer will adjust to your most used running plays, putting extra linebackers in your path. The computer will even run down the clock in the fourth quarter if it has a lead. One small tweak that I noticed was that Madden has a little pre-game talk, but this time he mentions what has happened in the past few games. This adds a very realistic feel to the game. Overall, Madden has improved leaps and bounds, and in my book, it's still number one.
Okay, but does that have pros and cons? Let's see. Pros of
Madden
Madden.
95 has some of the best artificial intelligence I've ever seen. This Madden actually puts up a fight. Also, real players, stats, and season play have finally been added.
And the cons of Madden
Though
95.
Madden 95 has all of the necessities, the interface is still well below par. The stats could use some better organization, and the season setup is just plain stupid.
We should also try Madden 94, Quarterback Club, and NFL 95. Okay. Next up, Carandia 3, a game I'm very interested in. Oh, we've got info. What are some useful facts? Oh my god. Okay, nails.
You'll find lots of nails in the dump, and a few in the bleachers at the arena. You can pick most locks with either a bent nail or a straight nail, and the
Oh,
process changes bent to straight and vice versa. A bent
Did
nail
not know
can
that.
also be combined with the nut on a string, which you can find in the third drawer of Malcolm's dresser to make the ever-useful bent nail on a string. And this is not just great for hypnotizing squirrels, but also for catching eels on the waterfront and for picking the special lock.
I am thinking of doing a full playthrough
No
of this
leave home
one.
without it.
Disguises.
Do you find yourself unappreciated, persecuted by your fellow man, carted off to jail at the most inopportune moments? You need a change of wardrobe. Allow me to show you the Malcolm collection. While the traditional muffly may have its place, consider how well it is set off by our hypnotized squirrel wig, or the leather jerkin stolen from the bars. Combine the two
Stealing
for a
my
striking
jerkin?
earth-tone ensemble.
No,
Have you
thank
considered
you.
the
I
possibility
need
of
that.
dressing as your comic cousin,
Well,
the Knight?
I feel that
While
evil
he is
jesters
working
are
on his
very good.
instrument,
I consider
proper
myself on the
feeling
evil
is so
side of
there. See how
jesterhood.
quickly he
I'm
handles
not
the
a nice
job.
jester. I'm
Then
quite
just go into
evil.
the
I do
bar,
evil
steal
things,
the
and
fishy
I
outfit,
cause a lot of
and
harm.
presto, instant fashion statement.
Nut on a string, huh?
This favorite childhood toy of Malcolm's is waiting for him in the
Malcolm,
third
you're a
drawer of his
clown
dresser.
man.
Take it to the dump and put some
Oh,
sesame
wait,
seeds on the
Jorkin,
lawn.
god damn
When
it.
the Carandian killer squirrel comes to partake,
We should not
use
be
the nut on a
jorking
string
any
and
peanuts here.
hypnotize
No,
it. To
thank
break the
you.
spell, click the toy on the squirrel again. Hypnotized squirrels have several uses, from serving as a fashionable bonnet to clearing out the crowded fish cream parlor to raw material for juggling balls and squirrel cream sandwiches, the favorite snack of purple dragons everywhere.
Ooh, okay. The moodometer.
You know, there are certain moments in life when the truth is neither helpful nor desirable. Frankly, Vince here is so stupid that you don't even have to wear a disguise around him, as long as you lie your belt booties off. You can
Okay.
change the temperature setting with impunity as long as you lie about it, and take whatever clothes are in the window as a disguise when the bathers scatter. For that matter, dogs are very easy to fool. So lying is definitely the
I
best
love
policy
that
if you're
dog
trying to audition for
man.
the circus
Why is
or
their
pass yourself
chest
off as a mime.
open? That's
But lies
so.
can also get in the way if used at the wrong time.
Pardon me for
It's
saying
best
so,
to
but that
be
was an
nice to the
erotic
ghost of
dog
Catherine
man.
to get a few clues on how to escape Carandia. Likewise, at the Pegasus landing, Xanthia will have some good advice to give Malcolm if he's being nice. Dragons are not fooled by such things, of course,
Good.
and Malcolm's normal self will work just fine with
I, as a
Brandywine.
dragon, am very fooled. Fish cream
You
sandwiches.
can get a sandwich at the Fish Cream Parlor in Carandia once you clear out the excess population. Dehypnotizing a squirrel in their midst will do the trick.
Okay.
Then, as long as you're wearing some sort of disguise, Dwayne, the guy at the counter, will be happy to give you one if you can supply your own ingredients.
I don't think
You need
these
some
taste
cream
good.
And sesame seeds from the dairy and an eel. You can also get one of these fishy delights from the strange kid who pops up all over the place if you can satisfy him with a toy. Beware though, this is a fickle child. You may have to try a couple of toys before finding one he likes. Fish cream sandwiches will calm the hunger of numerous Carandian residents, including Darm the Wizard and the Voice of Reason. You'll also need one of these, if you're trying to pass yourself off to the dog at the dock as a mime.
I do love that dog. Ooh, there's a jester staff. Fuck me, I need that.
The sesame seeds found at the dairy have numerous uses. Add a little water and they germinate into small sprouts. You can fertilize them by combining them with an eel. Don't ask me why, you just can. Fertilized seeds make big sprouts. When you put enough sprouts on the dairy hopper, the cows come running for food and they'll make cream. Use 5 small sprouts or 2 big ones. You can get some cream by poking a hole in the receptacle with a nail and
Ew.
putting a flask under the cream stream. The power of fertilized seeds on the grow can
I do
perform all
like that
sorts of
this guy
tasks,
has an
from removing
anti-dog
bricks from the
sentiment. I think
sewer
that's
wall
funny to
knocking
me.
over Xanthia's cabinet to doing your rock moving chores for you in the quarry.
And the jester staff.
The jester's staff is under your bed.
Oh,
This
okay.
special staff will make folks laugh. Sometimes that's just fun, but sometimes it's useful too. After you feed Darm a fish cream sandwich, a few zaps with the giggle stick will make him have to use the facilities, but bad.
Ooh.
This
A
will
giggle
mean you'll have a
stick?
nice private conversation with Brandywine the dragon.
All right, what about the toy factory?
This funky contraption can make toys out of almost anything. The 2 large levers on the side control what sort of toy is made. To see what toy the machine is set for, click on the blueprint book. The appropriate toy will be shown. To make a leather ball, you need leathery material like Brandon's
Oh.
shoe or the leather jerkin or even a hypnotized squirrel. With wood, you can make either the rocking horse or the toy soldier. The cellar underneath here contains a magic rug that will take you to Darm the Wizard and his dragon Brandywine. Just click first on the green apple, then the red one.
And evading the law.
If one of the Carandian citizens sounds the alarm on Malcolm, then Herman will be waiting for him by the transporter. If you're clever enough to leave a log here on the road, then Herman will trip and you'll be able to escape. You can only pull this trick once. The next time you go by, Herman will be waiting with a butterfly net, which you can escape if you happen to be holding a sharp object like the scissors, a toy soldier, a broken flask, or the shears. But the next time you pass this spot, you'll be captured, so make the
No!
most of your freedom.
Don't capture me, I'm a good man. Anyway, it's time to go to the cemetery.
Queen Catherine won't talk to you until you put 2 flowers on her grave, and all the flowers run away when you try to pick them. Use something sharp like the scissors or the shears to get these, and when you do talk to Catherine, for heaven's sake, be nice.
And 6 ways to leave Carandia.
Brandywine the dragon has some portal potion hidden behind the catacombs next to the sewer. Put some germinated seeds in the
Malcolm is
fresh
a
brickwork
regicidal
and add some
maniac?
water
That's
to
so
blow a hole in the
good.
wall.
As a
Then fill
jester, I
flask
really
from the
support
sea shells
regicide.
in
I
the
believe
catacombs. Go
we
to the
need to
arena, stand on
overtake the
footprints,
kings and
bottoms up.
become strong. We can also use the Pegasus potion.
To make a Pegasus potion, you have to distract Xanthia from her cauldron. Put some germinated seeds under her cabinet and add water to make it tip over. While she's not looking, drop a toy horse into the cauldron.
Okay.
This will fulfill the essence of horse requirement. Then just fill a flask with the resulting potion, take it to the Pegasus platform, and take a swig.
I'm always doing that. Leather balls!
With 3 leather balls, Malcolm can audition to join the traveling circus. He needs to be in lying mode and talk to the dog at the dock. Then click one of the balls on Malcolm and he'll start
You
juggling.
must be in
Since
lying
dogs are
mode.
easily impressed, this will do the trick.
The mime suit and the fish cream sandwich.
If you put an eel in the mime's hood, he'll want to take a bath. Just follow him into the baths and distract Louie by turning the heat up or down. You need to be in lying mode to pull this off. Then steal the mime outfit, put it on, and go down to the docks. If you stay in lying mode, you'll be able to convince the dog at the docks that you're the ship's captain.
That's
But
me.
You'll want another one of those delicious fish cream sandwiches before casting off.
All right, and now we need the squirrel or squirrel cream sandwich and 2 eels.
If you give either a squirrel or a squirrel cream sandwich to Brandywine the Dragon, you'll get some very specific information on how to use those 2 eels. I tell you now, but it's better that you hear from someone else. By the way, you make a squirrel cream sandwich the same way you make a fish cream sandwich, but you use a squirrel instead of an eel.
Ew. It's a hard time.
If you are captured 4 times and manage to escape each time, you'll land on the Isle of Cats. Whenever Herman tells you to empty your pockets, hang on to one item and it'll stay in your inventory. Smuggle a nail into the factory. After Rowena leaves you alone, pick the lock on the machine to reveal the horribly abused dwarf inside.
Ow!
After putting the string in his hands, poke him with the scissors and leave them next to him. Then step on the pedal. Instead of making a doily, the poor guy will be so freaked out that he'll make a tangled ladder out the window. You can then climb out and reclaim your confiscated items from the dump. If Malcolm smuggles fertilized seeds into the quarry, he can put them under the rock pile and germinate them with the sweat from his brow.
Ultra Pancake, don't worry. We are not eating squirrel sandwiches. Don't worry. It's fine.
Fulfill his quota.
I would never eat a squirrel.
Instinct says to pick up the pruning shears and clip your chains. If you do that, you'll just be chained again. Instead, clip Rowena's chain. As she runs away, she'll distract the guard, leaving you to free yourself undisturbed.
And here.
If Malcolm smuggles a nail or the pruning shears, he can release himself from the chains
Bye.
and escape to the Isle of Cats.
Okay. All right, and that is Legend of Piranha 3. Lemmings Chronicles.
It's no great surprise that Psygnosis and DMA Design have opted to continue their incredible.
I just wouldn't. I hear squirrels taste really
what
bad, so I
surprises
wouldn't
me is
eat
that
them.
Instead of just putting out more and more original Lemmings levels, which would probably satisfy most players, the designers keep trying to genuinely improve on the basic model.
Part 3 of the silly saga, The Lemmings Chronicles, is on the shelves now, and it's definitely better than Lemmings 2: The Tribes, or at least a lot easier to grasp.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with these cute little green-haired guys,
Yeah, both of you.
the player has to maneuver the almost brainless title characters from point A to point B, or as many of them as possible. To overcome the obstacles in each
Would I
level, you can
eat
get
a
special
lemming?
skills to
Oh,
some of the
I'm
lemmings
still
by
a jester. I
quickly
guess I can
digging.
finish that.
But wait,
Goodbye.
there's also a modicum of plot. The original Lemmings met
But
up with
would
various
I
differently
eat a
cultured cousins
lemming?
in Lemmings 2: The Tribes.
Yep, 12 different tribes and over 50 different skills. True, you only had to worry about 8 at a time, but I thought my head was going to explode
Maybe.
with that darn game.
Well, we'll get to that later. But all
Maybe-
of the tribes are currently in this big blimp trying to find new homes. The designers very cleverly decided to focus on only 3 tribes.
Maybe
Classic, Egyptian,
fried?
and Shadow.
Which not only means less factors to worry about in gameplay,
I-
but also that there are 3 future
I'm sorry
sequels
I'm like
practically
this.
tailor-made. Way to plan, guys. Well, these
But-
lemmings look a little bit larger than the ones I'm used to.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
would
fuss has been made
probably
over the
eat them
bigger
as lunch.
lemmings,
They
but
look
the
like they
manual
could be
makes it
sliced
clear
into
that they
luncheon
aren't
meat.
actually
I'm
any bigger.
sorry.
They're just
What's
closer.
wrong with
Fine,
me? What's
that's an
wrong with my
important
fucking
distinction.
brain?
A couple of interesting changes have been made in the gameplay. Most folks who've taken a shot at the first 2 games have probably gotten frustrated from time to time at something we'll call the blocker problem.
You mean how when you train a lemming to block, you can't get him to walk again, and you have to nuke him to let the others through?
Would I
hate
eat a
that.
smaller,
It's
weaker
senseless
jester?
waste of lemming life.
Well, in Chronicles, you can
Yes.
finally just instruct
Law of the
blockers
jungle.
to start walking again. They can be saved.
Hallelujah, brother!
Instead of you having to dole out all of the skills individually, there are some basics that everybody has, like blocking and jumping. Of course, you still have to tell the lemmings when to use them.
The specialized skills are in the form of tools lying around the level. The first lemming who finds one of these boxes will pick it up. If you don't want him to have that particular
could,
tool,
but the
you can
thing
tell him to
is,
drop it.
It's surprisingly
other
easy to keep
jesters,
track
I
of
just-
your lemmings. A right click turns them red.
Out
and
of
shows what
professional
color they're
courtesy,
carrying.
I don't eat
You
them,
won't
but you
believe how
know.
important this is. Those little guys tend to bunch together a lot.
Yeah, I found it a lot easier to keep track of... Hold it. What the heck is
Yeah,
that?
it's like
It's a vulture,
shark. You
silly.
have
I
to
thought
eat
that was
other
obvious.
smaller
The
jesters to
lemmings
get
aren't
bigger.
just battling your poor reflexes and their own stupidity anymore. They have real enemies to fight or avoid like the plague.
But I played this level. I don't remember any vultures.
That's because you're playing on child's level, you wimp.
Well, Child's level's pretty hard too, you know.
I was just kidding. The puzzles on Child's level are just the same as on the adult level. There's just fewer monsters. Any kid who can get through all 90 of these levels has my undying respect.
Well, even on Child's level, I ran into this guy, the mole. He's not so much an enemy as just unpredictable and weird. He hates bricks. Don't ask
He
me
hates
why.
bricks.
Lay down some bricks and he starts spinning and digging like a diamond drill gone out of control.
It's possible to make this work to your advantage, but it could also wreck some carefully constructed escape routes.
The sound is great. When you start a level, you get an enthusiastic, and when you have to nuke some lemmings, they obviously are not very happy about it.
On top of this, the game music is recorded in CD audio, so you aren't hampered by your sound card limitations. This was a real annoyance with the other Lemmings games. An explosion just isn't the same when you have to hear it through your PC speaker.
That's true.
Simply put, if you liked the other Lemmings games, you'll love this one. Just because the controls are a bit more basic doesn't make it an easier game. Rest assured, it'll eat your brains.
And if you've never played Lemmings before, well, you'd still enjoy this one, I'm sure, but you really should start at the beginning anyway. You'll get a better idea of how far this originally simple concept has evolved. Besides, at this point, there's no such thing
Just
as a bad
slice the
Lemmings game.
lemmings on rye. Think about it, won't you?
Everything you've grown to love about these guys is still true.
A little bit of
Despite
sauerkraut,
the
some Thousand
cartoony
Island.
graphics, This is a very sophisticated puzzle game. After the almost Baroque style of Lemmings 2: The Tribes, Chronicles feels positively streamlined.
Baroque,
And the
really?
Lemmings are cuter than ever.
Baroque?
The
Okay.
levels get a bit too challenging too quickly. Some players are bound to get frustrated at this. If the levels got harder more gradually, the game would be far more addictive.
I agree. We should also try the Lemmings series, Origamo, and Breakthrough. Done. Lion King SNES, let's fucking go.
You know, my first reaction when I hear about a new video game based on a movie is to cringe inwardly.
Same.
Then cringe outwardly. Then get a really disgusted look on my face. The reputation of such games is hideous, but lately things have started to look up. Evidence of this trend is here in the form of The Lion King from Virgin, a truly good game suitable for all ages. Lion King combines standard run-and-jump adventuring with challenging puzzle elements. For most of the game, you control the movie's main character, Simba, following him through childhood onto adulthood. Simba begins as a young, playful, ignorant cub whose only weapons are a pounce and a roar. After solving the game's early levels, he takes on the larger, stronger form of an adult lion and gains new abilities which he'll need to use in order to progress further. Some of the stages in Lion King are directly related to scenes in the movie. Most notable among
If I was
these
in The
is
Lion
movie
King,
scene
I'd be Scar.
which utilizes Nintendo's
Sorry,
Mode 7
sorry,
graphics technology.
Mufasa and
The player
Simba,
perspective
but
changes here from side view to front view,
I don't
and
like the way
only
you
ability
treat the
Simba can use
hyenas.
is a leap.
I
These
would
stages
I
like
would
this
help
one provide a
revolutionize the
nice link between
hyenas. I'm
movie and game.
sorry.
Like the Jungle Book before it, Lion King features eye-popping cartoon-like animation courtesy of Disney artists. The game is simply beautiful throughout and contains music and sound effects taken straight from the award-winning film. Many of the game's puzzles may be a bit too challenging for youngsters, but Virgin tries to overcome that problem by providing 3 selectable levels of difficulty, with the easiest giving you many lives and continues. The Lion King is a
It's
great
still
complement
bullshit
to any
impossible,
Disney video
though.
library and any video game library. Disney fans should pounce on this one. Pun most definitely intended.
Buddy, I'm the only one allowed to make puns around
You know,
here.
It's a great game based on a great movie. What more could you want? Disney artists teamed up with Virgin to give this game a look and feel almost as wonderful as the movie itself. The animation is smooth and the levels are long and challenging.
And the cons?
While you can choose to play with lots of continues, Lion King lacks a save game feature, which it certainly could have used, seeing as though younger players will have a really difficult time beating it in one sitting.
Because it's a fucking impossible game. Anyway, we should also try the Jungle Book, the Flintstones, and Earthworm Jim. Lords of Midnight.
Back in the early 80s, the original Lords of Midnight, an epic medieval adventure, was released in Europe. While it was primarily designed for the Spectrum system, the game was also ported to the Commodore 64. It's been a long time, but Domark is about to continue the saga for the PC with the 3rd installment of Lords of Midnight, The Citadel.
Simba
written by
must
the
paint the
original game
wall.
designer Mike Singleton. The story begins with Luxor, the King of Midnight, on a sea journey. The ship is ambushed and Luxor is taken prisoner by the evil Boroth Wolfheart. A ransom demand is made to Luxor's son, Prince Morkin, but Morkin is not
Prince
one to surrender
Morkin?
without a fight. If Morkin were to gather his forces together in midnight, Boroth would be alerted by his spies and would expect trouble. So instead, Morkin sneaks into the vicious lands of the Blood March to raise an army from the 12 other realms. The problem is that the leaders of these realms are also
I'm
being
supposed to
held
root
prisoner
for someone
within the
named
Black Citadel.
Morkin.
Fortunately,
And the
Boroth has
graphics
made
look
a
like
critical
that. You
error
ain't
in
getting it
judgment.
from me, buddy.
Accompanying King Luxor were two friends, Corlith and Arik, Lord Blood. Instead of keeping them captive with Luxor, Boroth sold them into slavery, not realizing their importance and resourcefulness. At the game's start, these characters have escaped the slave pens and are now running free within the Black Citadel, freeing other prisoners. The Citadel is far from your normal single-path adventure game. Within this storyline, the player can choose to look through the eyes of any of 24 different characters involved in the rescue of King Luxor. This does not mean the sort of limitations that go with real-time strategy games either. Time is completely flexible in this game. You can play in real time if you
This
choose,
feels
but
like
you can
the
always
Amiga,
stop time to
right?
calculate simultaneous moves or skip ahead as far as you want to see the outcome of a gambit. While the player can choose to take on the persona of almost any character in the game, that doesn't mean that the other characters are suffering much without player guidance. All you have to do is give the characters some general quests and they'll perform them. Even if you don't manipulate a thing, these guys may manage to rescue Luxor anyway.
Okay.
But you can certainly make things easier with your presence. Perhaps the most impressive thing about Lords of Midnight is its scope. The Blood March is not a small place, and you can explore every beautiful inch of it. Rather than store graphics for the entire continent, the landscape is fractally generated on the fly, and it looks amazing.
Fractally
As time passes, you'll
generated?
experience the hardships of the different seasons, but you'll also get to appreciate their beauty. Look at this gorgeous winter scene. You can even set the game to continue its action in real time while you're away. When you restart the game, it'll tell you what has happened in the meantime. The adventure reaches its conclusion with a siege on the Black Citadel, the killing of Boroth, and the rescue of the king. But there are so many different perspectives to see this saga from, you'll probably want to start all over again. Lords of Midnight: The Citadel will be on the shelves this spring.
Okay. What about Lords of the Realm?
In our continuing efforts to help you win the throne of England, this episode's
All right,
Lords
we
of
got
the
more
Realm
hints for ya.
gives you strategies for castle design and siege warfare, two of the most interesting parts of the game. The medieval economic mind was pretty clear when it came to fortifications. If the wall is big enough to protect me, then it's big enough. Keep the same attitude and you won't go half wrong. Build a tower or keep to hold the flag, then surround it with halls. The value of a castle lies more in its ability to hold troops and provisions than its ability to drain your coffers with tons of stone. Make extensive use of moats. Frankly, a very effective budget castle can be built with no outer wall whatsoever, just a double ring of moats. Put as much space as you can between them to limit the range of attacking engines. This is an ideal castle type for your inner counties. Your borderlands
Yeah,
will need
we
stone
should be
walls, and these too
nuclear
can be
weapons.
done in
Boom,
rings
I
if you
win.
can afford it. But put water between
We call
them.
it the Cyber
Once you've
Judas
built your dream
stratagem.
castle, it's time to garrison it. Really, ignore the fact that all troops are the same in the siege. The best defense for a castle is a tough garrison packed to the walls with armor and swords. When the enemy shows up, sally forth and watch the fireworks. Sieges are something that the AI
I will
must
sally
not the
forth,
real
thank
king.
you.
And don't forget those gatehouses
I'll sally
in your
worth as
castle
well.
design. Now, if you prefer a light garrison, the next option in castle defense is to raise an army to vanquish the attackers as the need arises. This is cheaper since you don't need to maintain the force, but is often dangerous since you can never really predict your ability to get a good force going without at the very least doing real injury to your happiness score. Much more rich in decision-making opportunity is the offensive side of siege warfare. And the first question is assault or blockade. Lots of play has shown that if your
Sally
army
forth
is
with
useful
Sally
at all,
Worth.
a
Yes, I
blockade
want
will
that.
always work,
I want the
eventually.
Sally Worth
Lords of the Realm is
real-time
a long
strategy
game, and
game.
a few extra seasons near Herefordshire won't make much difference if you're simultaneously worried about taking Sussex and Wiltshire. Other concerns, though, simply include the fact that your army might be needed elsewhere soon. To keep the damage to your new castle minimal, but to keep the siege as swift as can be, focus early energy on building the big rock throwers and line them up. Focus all of them on one spot on the wall. You're almost certain to create an exploitable breach without wrecking the castle itself. After that, the troops can pour in. The AI isn't very imaginative when it comes to castle choices, and you won't have to work hard to take the flag in most cases. If you're playing
Good.
live against an opponent via modem play, things get different, and more careful siege tactics will be necessary. The rule for fighters is
Oh,
the
it's
same as for
Maryworth and
machines.
Sally Forth.
Don't be afraid of
I did not
redundancy.
mean to
Put 3
mix
units on a
up
single
Maryworth
task,
and
there's a
Sally.
great chance
I'm
that the
sorry.
task will
Yeah,
be
I'm
done,
sorry,
and the
Sally.
seed drops
Sally,
with
you
quick
don't
and
deserve
efficient
that. I'm
conclusion.
sorry.
Line up the towers
Please
and
don't
ladders
yell at
along
me
the
online,
walls and
Sally
use them.
Forth.
Something will break through. Siege warfare is one of the most interesting parts of the game.
Maryworth,
Castle
don't get mad
designs
at me
play an
either.
integral
I'm
part.
normal.
The best strategy here, as well as on the normal battlefield, is simply to field large numbers. If you have trouble with food supply and building siege engines, you've done something very wrong. These things should never happen.
Okay.
Remember not to assign fighters to the field until you've gotten a stock of engines built, even as diggers. Save them for later and put them on building detail or foraging where they belong. When it comes time to take the final flag, do it with soldiers. Battering it with rocks from the trebuchets or catapults could do fatal damage to the castle and require a total rebuilding. Of course, if you aren't too keen on keeping it anyway, go right ahead. The secret to successful sieges is all on common sense planning. As long as you remember not to commit a man to battle until he's backed up by catapults and equipped with ladders and towers, the castles that the AI will use won't stand much of a chance against you, and the crown will soon be yours.
I don't want the crown. I want magic carpet. I mean, I do want magic carpet.
For some reason, Magic Carpet hasn't been hyped up very much. That's weird, since it's thousands of times better than most of the crap that gets all the publicity. It's
Okay.
a great game with a low profile.
You'd think EA would want to publicize its latest Bullfrog title, especially when you consider how good it is. But what do I know from marketing? I'm a game reviewer. I know games. And Magic Carpet is a great one.
In Magic Carpet, the world has been torn apart by mages battling for power. It's your job to restore the world's equilibrium and bring it back to the natural order.
You'll do that by flying around on your magic carpet and killing monsters to liberate the mana they're made of. When you've collected enough mana, you win the scenario and you go on to the next in the game's series of 50 levels.
Did you say 50?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I
That's a
remember Magic Carpet
From the
didn't
first
do well,
frames of
but
its
I
intro
remember it
animation,
reviewing
Magic Carpet
amazingly.
positively reeks of quality. The graphics are great, and if you
Reeks
have a
of quality.
decent speed CD-ROM drive, you'll be treated to some of the smoothest, most lifelike animation around.
It's a setup. It sets the tone for the smoothness of the game. The intro is over 100 megs. It's long, but you won't grow tired of watching it very quickly. You start the game with nothing
I
but
don't-
your
I don't
carpet,
believe you,
but
buddy.
You immediately see a
I
red
get tired
urn.
of things
These
pretty
urns are
quickly.
spells you can get. The 3 most important ones are Fireball for attacks, Possess for capturing mana, and Create Castle.
When you cast Create Castle at the ground, a fortress morphs up right out of the terrain. I love it. You start with just a few towers, but if you cast the spell a couple of more times, you can expand it into a full castle complete with defensive archers. Much of your game will be spent slaughtering monsters. There's a lot of evil beasties to vanquish, ranging from worms to dragons to giant bees to wyverns to... Oh, gee!
Okay, they get the point. When you kill a monster, it explodes into a shower of golden globules. That's mana.
Golden
By casting your
globules.
Possess spell at mana, you turn it to your color. You have a hot air balloon that wanders around collecting all mana of your color and taking it back to your castle. Magic Carpet is played with the mouse, which may sound bad, but it works very well. The mouse controls your altitude and banking, and the arrow keys control speed and strafing. You fire spells by clicking the mouse button.
Hitting enter or clicking both mouse buttons pops up this screen. Here you can get a much bigger map of the land and a handle on your spells. There are 24 spells in the game. Highlighting one and clicking readies it for use with that mouse button. A very simple interface.
You won't always be alone either. Enemy mages can pose a real problem, running around trying to steal your mana by changing it to their color.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
great
deformable
addition.
terrain. I
If you
remember
have a
that.
network at your disposal, you can play with up to 8 human players. There's no modem play, and that's one of the game's only faults. Still, the computer will give you enough trouble to keep you occupied. Although I could rant and rave about the gameplay forever, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention the amazing landscape in this game. Flying close to the ground has never been this fast or graphically rich.
Magic Carpet is today's Comanche maximum overkill. You can fly between towers, dip into canyons, and drop behind hills with amazing speed, and the terrain looks great. Magic Carpet requires a powerful computer, but this game is worth upgrading for.
Magic Carpet is the most addictive game I've played in a long time. If you're into frenzied combat and fast, highly maneuverable flying, this is a game you absolutely must have. It's another top-notch product from the Bullfrog team.
I think this is
Thank
the
you,
best game
Bullfrog.
Bullfrog has produced yet, and that's saying a lot. It's also one of the most original.
Yeah,
action
I'm
games
surprised there's never been a
quite
Magic
recently.
Carpet remake.
With hyper-addictive gameplay and killer technology on its side, Magic Carpet is a high-flying winner.
Okay, they really like Magic Carpet. But what are the pros?
The graphics and sound are excellent. The mouse control is simple to learn and offers a great deal of maneuverability. The speed at which you can fly over and through the highly detailed terrain is astonishing.
And the cons?
This game was made for the Pentium and suffers on anything less.
No.
There's no modem support, an absence made all the more noticeable by the inclusion of the network option.
We should also try Dragon Strike, the Wing Commander series. Okay. And as Chad is going raving over, Comanche Maximum Overkill. All right, but what about, let's see, how many more games do we have here? Okay, I think we can get through these before my tummy starts hurting too much. Let's go to Masters of Magic.
Choosing what sort of wizard to be is only half of the dilemma facing those who would be Masters of Magic. A second and equally important choice is what race to have as your minions. Long before you can take a city of another race, which
I
may
want
not
my
be
minions to
useful
be
in
the
any way,
minions
you
from
can
the
start
minions.
several cities of your own. Barbarians grow fast, and that's about all you can say for them. They have the same weak shaman the other uncivilized races do, but their killer unit is relatively expensive, can take only 3 hits, walks 1 square a turn, and its only special trick is throwing weapons. In addition, they cannot build banks, mechanicians guilds, or merchants guilds, so their cities are poor producers. Poor gnolls.
Hey,
they aren't
Kiwi,
any better in
you've
the
got
unit
a
department,
magic
having only
carpet on
wolf riders to
PS1.
call their own.
Nice.
If the next patch to MOM does give them a movement of 3, these units are cheap enough that gnolls might be worth taking again, but only for those seeking a challenge, as they grow slowly and don't develop any faster than barbarians do. Orcs are near the bottom of the barrel, but there are important differences. They grow fast and can build all city improvements, so their cities
I
will
do
produce
like the
growth.
minions from
Unlike gnolls and
Overlord.
barbarians,
That
orcs can build
that's a
priests
game
and
I've been meaning to
magicians in addition
stream
to
or
wyvern
play.
riders.
But I guess
Like
it's
the
not
previous
retro
specialty
enough.
units, wyvern riders don't deal out much damage, but they will stand a bit more punishment. Their high cost means you won't have many of them, though. Lizard men are worthy opponents and a good choice, particularly for inexperienced players. While they can't build many city improvements, they can pump out dragon turtles and javelineers quickly.
Hey, Dragon
These two units in
Turtles.
combination can take on nearly anything in the game, and since they move to and swim, no city is safe. Their only military downfall is that they cannot build an alchemist's guild, which means the javelineers will have a hard time against weapon-immune monsters. Clacons are one-unit wonders.
Look
Their
at that
big
stag
unit is the
beetle.
stag beetle. But with a unit like this, who needs anything else? Stag beetles take a lot of killing, and with a movement of 2 can close quickly with opponents. Not only can they deal out punishment to drakes and other big critters, a goodly number of them will still be standing afterwards. Clacons don't build much in their cities, but they build it fast, and they have engineers, a vital unit on Mirror. Trolls are one-unit wonders with a twist. As long as you win, they all come back. They're another underdeveloped race, so their cities are slow producers, their units are expensive, but they regenerate, and that one thing makes them worth taking. Build war trolls, build as many as you can, plus a few shaman, and you can conquer other races, letting them build the super creatures while you supply the cannon fodder. Beastmen provide mana and will build large
Minotaurs!
cities that can turn out
Oh!
troops rapidly, but unfortunately their units have neither the hitting nor staying power to be worth building. Even
Boo.
their high-value units such as Minotaurs or Manticores are weak and will let you down in the clinches against drakes and other large critters. Their most effective troops end up being
In
the
real
quick
life, Minotaurs are
civilization
pretty
other races
strong.
can build without heavy troops to back them up.
The cute
effectively.
manticores.
Draconians have decent
Oh,
troops
look at
and
the
can
Doom
construct high-output
Drakes. I
cities,
love
but because
them.
of a defective
Wee,
master
little
patch, they aren't a good
babies.
choice as an initial race. In 1.1 and previous versions of MOM,
Little
flying
baby
units will not
Doom
use the load
Drakes.
bonus unless a land-bound unit is stacked with them. Since all Draconians fly except for settlers, you would need to produce a settler or rely on recruiting a hero or other normal unit to take advantage of the infinite road bonus, which is one of the primary reasons for choosing to start on Mirror. Halflings conquer the world. Details at 11. You can win with these little guys.
Cool.
Just build loads of shaman and get other races.
They
to
look
build
like
your great
lemmings.
Killer stacks. Halflings
I want to
build
eat them, though.
big
I wouldn't eat a
cities with
halfling,
good
but I would eat
production
a lemming.
capacity and lots of food if you set them to farming. There has been a lot of talk about slingers online, but they are undergunned for their cost and certainly don't have staying power. What makes the halfling strategy work is that nobody gets mad at them for taking their cities. Even races notorious for their irritability, dark elves, seem perfectly happy to let these little fellows rule them.
Okay.
Dwarves are fantastic producers and an excellent race to subjugate, but not as good a race to start with. They're the best
I
race
don't wanna
bar none to put in charge
subjugate.
of mines, but they're irritable and other folks hate being ruled by them. Golems
What
are a
if
sturdy
what if I
attack
don't
unit
want
in
to
the game
subjugate
with 20
anyone?
hit
Do I
points
just
and
not play
piercing
PC
resistance.
games?
And their 12 attack dice will let
That's
them
my
stomp on
problem with
anything
like
that doesn't
colonization
block.
and stuff.
But for
There's a
flyers,
lot
there
of
are always
subjugation
steam
of
cannons.
people, and I'm
Four
like,
golems
that's
and
not
5
my
steam cannons
vibe.
will kill almost anything they catch. The problem is getting there. Nomads make some of the best cities and have a wide range of units in all price ranges to choose from. The only downside this race has is that they don't have engineers, but if you build rangers and stack them with other units, you don't need to build roads on Arcanus. The worst monster in the
The
game
halflings
is an
win
air
because
elemental,
they go by
and this
the
unit
little
is one of the
birthday boy
best ways to deal
stratagem.
with
They
them.
just invade a city,
Build a
and when
stack
people
of
get mad, they're
ribbons
like,
after
"Come
erecting an
on, I'm
alchemist
just a
unit,
little
and you
guy.
can
I'm just a
finally
little
take those
guy. It's my
sorcery
birthday.
nodes
I'm the
that have been
birthday
taunting
boy.
you
You
from the
can't hurt a
start of the
man on
game.
his birthday."
You will lose most of your stack of
Yeah,
griffins in such a
exactly,
fight,
sir.
but
Dude,
using light magic
exactly,
and a
Danny. Most
spellcasting
PC
hero
games
should
have
bring you through.
subjugation, and
Dark
that's not
elves
something
are
I
bad
do.
dudes. They don't
Or
like
I wanna
anybody.
do.
They don't even like each other. The good
There's a
news
lot
is
less
that they produce
subjugation
one mana
in
per person, create
in
good-sized cities that will
in
produce lots
console
of
games,
gold
I
and
feel.
units, and they have the widest
Who's being
selection of worthwhile
subjugated
units
in
in the game.
Bubsy? Well,
Nightmares
certainly
are
not the
nearly
Woolies.
perfect
I'll tell you
unit,
that.
having good melee and missile strength all in one package. All of their troops have missile ability, which means you can start conquering with a stack of a cheap spearman early in the game. Later on, you can build stacks of warlocks and blow away any creature that isn't immune to magic. So, who cares if no one likes them? High Elves are my favorite race. They put up large productive cities, they create mana, and for its price produce the best unit in the game, Longbowmen. Longbowmen have a strength 3 ranged attack.
Oh,
Each shot
Longbowman. I
takes
thought he
issue
said
with
long
minimal
woman,
penalty
and
at
I'm
long
like,
range.
long
If they could
woman,
build
huh?
lords, they'd be perfect.
He should
For
create
sharp
long
troops in
woman
the front rank,
instead.
you can use Elven Lords or Pegasi. I don't know which I like better. Before writing this article, I ran a small demolition derby running stacks of different units through a sorcery node to see what would come out. Not much did. At the node were 2 Jinn and 2 Skydrakes. I cast no spells and no heroes were present. The lowly Longbowman, which I expected to be crushed, nearly won, killing both Jinn, one out of the sky, and nearly killing the second Drake before succumbing. Hi men, the winners, and still champions! They can build nearly anything, they get along well with others, and they produce the wonder unit, Paladins. Paladins aren't cheap, but in combination, their abilities
Yeah,
let
the
them withstand
long
attacks that
high
will
elf
slay other
woman.
units outright and put paid to any creature foolish enough to attack them. During the demo derby, they were the only stack that won. While stacks of nightmares, wyvern riders, airships, and others failed, 2 of the paladins emerged victorious. And this, even though they were unable to initiate any attacks of their own, but could only counterattack. The perfect race doesn't
Okay,
exist,
fair.
but by
Mario
taking
is a bit of a
advantage the merits of
subjugator.
each race, you can put together an empire able to defeat anyone. Build your stacks around 2 elements. Build 4 units with good staying power like paladins or dragon turtles for the front rank, and build 4 missile units for the back ranks, such as longbowmen or steam cannons. Add a hero
Yes.
who can spellcast if you have one, and you'll have a stack that can take on nearly anything and win. In our next installment, we'll set a city on the fast road to big bucks.
All right, that was Masters of Magic. Now it's time for Menzo Branson, huh? It should be Menzo Branson, and they should go to Branson, Missouri. Sorry, Menzo Branson. I should take you seriously.
Your girlfriend's gone, your best friend is asleep, and it's raining outside. Might as well play a role-playing game on your PC, right?
Computer RPGs are great time killers, and nobody knows that better than SSI, who churn out RPGs at a rapid pace to appease their many customers. Their latest is Menzo Baranzan, which utilizes the same interface found in their popular past-release Ravenloft.
This is a bad thing. Ravenloft's interface made me want
Cool.
to detonate my computer
Painted
with a large
nails in
amount
the
of
medieval
plastic
times or
explosives.
whatever.
Don't make it
Fantasy
sound like
nails.
people will automatically like this game.
I'm not trying to. We all know that SSI tends to go overboard a bit when it comes to developing game interfaces. They've introduced a handful of different interfaces in the past couple of years, and some of them definitely work better than others.
My favorite interface was Dark Suns. They should have stuck with it.
Menzo Baranzan is the name of the capital city of the Underdark, the frightening underground world of the Drow Elves. They're the bad guys in this game. You have to go get them.
And it won't be easy, especially using the only 2 characters you start the game with. Perhaps the coolest feature of Menzo Baranzan's adventure mode is the ability to recruit NPCs to join your party. There are a ton of guys in the cities and woods, and a lot of them will be willing to assist you.
Look at
without any
him.
return.
Sorry, I was looking down for a second, and I look up and what is this?
Create your party. The initial party is composed
Excuse
of 2
me?
characters.
Yeah, and creating them is only slightly less time-consuming than, say, Woodstock 94. I mean, geez, I like good rendered animation as much as the next guy, but using it in a character creation system? All you do is pick your race and class and roll some dice. This isn't usually a 15-minute process, but they must know what they're doing.
No, they
It sure
don't.
is easy to bump into a tree in Menzoberranzan. Not that I'm complaining. I mean, at least you don't get hurt, like in real life. But it's still a little too easy. In fact, bumping into anything is a bit too easy.
Yo, Doom players, remember gamma correction? Well, it's here in Menzoberranzan too. The difference is that it worked in Doom. If you were really in a dark area, you turn the gamma on and you could see better. In Menzoberranzan, it doesn't seem to help a bit. All it does is turn a dark, blurry, pixelated image into a light, blurry, pixelated image.
Looks like shit, Captain.
No good RPG is without a mapping feature, although some bad RPGs have them too.
Menzoberranzan's maps are a good reference, but you can't automatically move to explored areas. You also can't edit or delete annotated text, which is a bummer for anal retentive role players like myself.
After walking around for a while, you'll have to fight something. That shouldn't come as a surprise. What might come as a surprise is how you do this.
Hey SSI, if I want real-time combat, I'll buy Street Fighter 2. This is a role-playing game. Battles should not be won or lost by how fast.
Listen, as a certified hater of real-time combat, I'm with this guy. I'm sorry. I'm so bad at real-time combat. So I don't play a lot of modern RPGs, but I know there's some that don't have them, so.
I'm getting the feeling that you really like this game.
Sure.
Anyhow, as upsetting as the combat and movement functions are, there are some pluses to Menzo. The digitized speech is particularly good, and the vernacular used is fairly true to the setting. Make sure
Yeah,
you
let
play
me-
with the sound on, or you'll be
Let
missing
me
the game's
do
better
Street
features.
Fighter moves in this
I
game.
don't even think I need to say anything else. The mere fact that Menzoberranzan's sound effects are one of its best parts should tell you something.
Hey, Kaboom, yeah,
Unless you're
we're,
a diehard Ravenloft fan. And
last stream before the
don't
move,
think any of you
and I lost
exist.
power during
Stay
it, so
away.
that's a good
Stay
omen.
far away.
I must concur, Menzoberranzan could have been a lot more than it is. Heck, if SSI simply redid the interface, the game would be a classic. All of the parts are there, they're just not in the right place.
And the right place for the game is on the shelf. Keep it there.
All right, let's check out the pros and cons. Hey, excuse me.
Menzoberranzan features a long, challenging quest with some of the most realistic NPCs and character dialogue ever put into a computer game. Thanks to digitized voice, the language of the game setting is captured exceptionally well. Also, when you can see them, the graphics are colorful and the portraits are very well detailed.
And the cons.
Real-time combat? Please. Menzoberranzan is, for the most part, unplayable. Movement is too complicated, combat is completely devoid of strategy, and commands require too many mouse clicks to execute. Come on, SSI, let's kill this interface before it spawns.
And we should also try Ravenloft and Lands of Lore. Okay, I will. All right, Metal Marines, we are in the home stretch here. Oh my god, I think we're going to be able to do this.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli.
Excuse me, did I wander into the middle of an interactive torture session, or is this where the review of Metal Marines is taking place?
You're in the right place, soldier. We're looking for a few good men to tell our viewers about Mindscape's new Windows game, which is the epitome of good, clean, mindless fun.
That's high praise indeed, but since you're running around here in uniform ready to enlist, I guess you're being sincere. I like this game too, but my appreciation apparently falls well short of yours, so I'll let you tell everyone what Metal Marines is all about.
Thanks, soldier. At ease, and smoke 'em if you got 'em.
One more weak military reference and I'm dismissing the viewers and calling for a firing squad.
In that case, as you were, Metal Marines is a real-time strategy game that's going to pose a serious moral dilemma for you Windows-hating gamers out there.
You mean those people who turn their head and spit on the ground whenever Windows is mentioned?
Oh, so
That's
you met
Danny.
that guy
Danny
too.
is a Windows
Anyway, the
hating,
designers didn't use Windows just so you hide the game at
hating
work
gamer.
if your boss wanders into the room, although it still serves that function. In Metal Marines, the windows are used as the battlefields for you and your opponent, and the effect of watching missiles sail from window to window as you play this game is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time.
Metal Marines is set in the year 2557. The
Anime!
evil military leader Zorgoff has come
I'm
up
sorry,
with a weapon so
manga!
strong it has torn the earth to bits, leaving a bunch of islands scattered across the planet. And, now stop me if you've heard this before, the only person who can save mankind from this evil tyrant is you.
Gee, that sounds like something straight out of a comic book.
Funny you should mention that. A 17-page comic book serves as the manual for this game, which should give you an idea of how complicated this is. The comic book sets up the storyline and includes
Is this
some
like a
very
Mara
basic
manga?
information on how to start the game. But you really don't even need to look
Or
at
is this
it.
manga
Little Marines
manga?
is pretty much self-explanatory. You work your way
Oh, it's
through
not
over
gonna tell
20
me.
scenarios in the game. Your goal in each one is to destroy the enemy's 3 bases before he destroys yours. The difficulty of each scenario varies by the size of the islands and the type of defensive or offensive strategy adopted by your opponent. For those of us who think screaming at a fellow human being is more fun than hollering at a computer, the game also features modem play. At the start of each scenario, you're looking at your enemy's blank battlefield. Every time you fire a weapon into the opposing window, you literally uncover more information on the deployment of his forces. You can build missiles to fire at your opponent, anti-aircraft batteries to knock down his incoming missiles, and factories to help improve the performance of your economy. However, as the title indicates, the stars of the show are the 50-foot-tall metal marines who are big and bad. There is a little resource management involved with this game. There's a dollar cost for every weapon you build, and there's an energy cost involved with every action you take. Also, there isn't one set strategy
It just
that
seemed like
constantly
another
works in
sad
Metal
case
Marines.
of people
Each of the
killing each
scenarios
other.
Sure
presents a
is. This
different
is
challenge,
not for
and you'll have
me,
to adjust
but
your approach accordingly.
Is there anything you didn't like
AP
about this?
also
There are
included
times
some
when you're ready to
emphasis
issue
on
Jiraza, thank you so much for the
game
follow.
does
Appreciate
nothing else
it.
and ignores you. Of
homosexuality.
course, a lot of that
Yeah.
has to do with the use of a mouse to run a real-time action game, which I'm not overly fond of anyway. No matter how good the interface is, there are always going to be those occasions when you click, miss, and pay severe consequences.
The shooting from window to window thing is a lot of fun,
That looks
but there's
sick.
more to Metal Marines than just one gimmick. It looks good, is easy to understand, and is severely addictive.
It all goes back to that good, clean, mindless fun thing we talked about at the start. Metal Marines isn't meant to be analyzed. It's meant to be enjoyed. Hey, as long as you're going to have to save the world, you might as well smile while you're doing it.
All right, let's see if we have any pros and cons.
Don't you just hate
Oh,
it when
I guess
you click on
cons.
something with your mouse in a real-time strategy game and nothing happens? I know I do, and that occasionally happens when you play Metal Marines.
And the pros?
Watching your weapons fly from one window to another is a lot of fun. Metal Marines is so simple to use, there's no real manual. The game comes with a 17-page comic that includes 6 actual pages of information on how to play the game. It's more than enough.
All right, and we should also try Cannon Fodder, agree, and Theater of Death. All right, let's go to the next game. Metal Tech Battledrome.
Hot on the heels of Earthsiege comes another Dynamics game of Herc robot combat, Metaltech Battledrome, a pulse-quickening game of one-on-one combat.
You actually liked this one?
Yeah, I did. Didn't you?
Not by a long shot. I was frustrated, angered, and bored to tears.
How come?
Well, let's get into the review and I'll clue you in.
Battledrome is a game of combat between huge killer robots called Hercs. These skyscraper-sized death machines fight it out in a specialized combat arena.
Okay, problem number 1. The arena is a black room with a grid of white dots on the floor and ceiling to let you know where they are. Graphically, it's about the most boring thing I've ever seen.
You can change the size and light level of the arena as well as add objects. Pillars provide good defensive cover, and you can even opt to include laser turrets, which make the arena itself dangerous.
Those are all good additions, especially the laser turrets. They even look nice, but it still doesn't change the fact that the arena is a graphic dead zone. We'll let you fight in a black box. Ooh, keep enticing me.
To fight someone, you choose a candidate from a list of computer-controlled opponents and issue a challenge. You then haggle over the details. You know, how much money each of you will wager, what hercs will be used, that sort of thing.
The challenging system is nice, for the first few times anyway, then it just gets irritating. I want to fight, not haggle with the computer. A wise man once said to me, gambling without real money is just plain boring. You know, he's right.
Well, how about the control system? You can't gripe about that, can you?
In a big way. I hated it.
But why? It's the same control scheme as Earthsiege, and you liked it then.
It's almost the same, but not quite. The hat switch isn't used for anything anymore. Now, if they aren't going to use the hat to change your view, they should have let you control your turret with it, instead of flipping between movement and turret modes on the stick. That's pure laziness, and it irritates me like you wouldn't believe.
Okay, then let's talk about the cockpit. You right-click on each HUD and move it around, letting you customize your own cockpit. Isn't that cool?
Yes, but they forgot one very important thing. There's no way to tell if your turret is looking at the ceiling, the floor, or straight ahead. Since there's practically no graphics to help you get your bearings, this is a very obvious omission.
The combat then. I thought fighting the other Hercs was great. The AI is pretty good, and the Herc graphics were very impressive. It's a tense, nail-biting battle. You can't deny that, can you?
No, I'll admit that the fighting is pretty good. Battledrome has what it takes to be a good game, but the boring arena combined with the clumsier than it had to be control killed the game for me.
I don't think we'll ever agree about this one. I liked Battledrome a lot. It's good against the computer, and it really shines with the network and modem play. This is a great two-person game.
The network and modem play options are Battledrome's only selling points in my opinion. If you play a lot of modem games, Battledrome may appeal to you. Otherwise, it's inferior to Earthsiege in every imaginable way.
Okay.
Hot-
What are the
This is the
pros?
type of game that's perfect for modem and network play. The combat is fast-paced and exciting, and the sound and music are excellent.
And the cons?
The arena you fight in is a boring black box, and the control system could have been much easier to deal with if someone had bothered to program the hat switch. The wagering system is fun, but quickly becomes tedious.
All right, let's also try MetalTech, Earthsiege, Megatron VGA, shareware, and the classic, the beloved Mech Warrior. What about NASCAR racing?
I'm Ned Jerry. From Papyrus, this is NASCAR Racing.
If you're a stock car racing fan, you'll truly appreciate the attention to detail that Papyrus has put forth in NASCAR racing. It combines all of the technical details of racing, such as gear ratio changing and spoiler adjustment, with plenty of good old-fashioned high-speed action to give it fully rounded appeal.
I expect that many people will fall in love with NASCAR racing. However, some gamers may be disappointed that they will need to put in several hours of practice to be competitive at full realism.
I doubt that anyone will argue that NASCAR racing is a considerable challenge. However, I also think that most people will find it's worth it. I'd suggest the first-time players start out on the larger tracks such as Talladega or Michigan International. The banking is higher and the curves are nowhere near as sharp, so it's easier to keep your race car on the track.
You may also want to familiarize yourself with the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Viewing parts of the races that the big guys run may give you pointers on how to set up your car and what driving lines may be the most productive. Speaking of real tracks and drivers, NASCAR racing has enough of both to keep the pickiest fan happy. You can race head-to-head with Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvan, or the 1994 Daytona 500 winner Sterling Marlin. You won't find all the NASCAR drivers and cars in this game, but there are more than enough to give you a great run for your money.
NASCAR racing includes 9 official NASCAR racetracks. Not only do you get 9 tracks, but you get a good variety of the tracks that are used in this series. Watkins Glen International is a road course that will have you spinning for sure. Also included are longer tracks like Michigan and Talladega, plus shorter tracks like Martinsville and Bristol. Plenty of
Martinsville.
variety to keep everyone happy until the additional tracks are available.
Sorry, I'm trying not to check out on the
The use of
racing games, but
SVGA
I
graphics
just
makes
don't
NASCAR
give a shit. I'm sorry, racing games.
Racing look like the
I'm
real
sorry,
thing.
racing
The
games. You
details
deserve
and
better
spots
than
and stuff
Alex. You
jump right
deserve
off the cars as
someone
they
who
go by.
respects
The
you,
crowds look very realistic
who
as
loves
you
you,
drive,
who
and
who
you
who
feel
will
the
show
same.
you what you
But the most
deserve.
impressive sights are the car
Dump
crash
Alex and
sequences.
go with it. Dump
Lord
the
knows
zero,
that most
Alex, and
people
go with the
find
hero.
themselves in hundreds of different melees.
Too true. I have never seen crashes look as beautiful as they do in NASCAR. Tires smoking and screeching, dirt flying, fenders and other body parts crumbling. It's wonderful to watch, but not so great for your car's handling. The body damage is also visible from within the car, which is both realistic and cool.
The view from inside the car is true to life. You also have every gauge the NASCAR drivers have, plus a speedometer. But if you don't like the view from inside your car, you have 2 other arcade-style external driving views.
I don't know that I would call the 2 external views arcade style, but they are a usable alternative. The thing I don't understand is why would anyone want to drive with an external view when they have such a realistic one from within the car?
NASCAR racing offers plenty of rules that, when turned on, keep even the wildest drivers at bay. For example, the pit roads have a speed limit of 55 miles per hour. If you exceed that, you'll be issued a stop-and-go penalty for 5 seconds. In other words, you have to enter the pits one more time and stop in your stall for a 5-second penalty, then you may go on your merry little way.
Another easy way to get penalized is to pass cars under caution. It isn't allowed in the real NASCAR series, and they don't like it in NASCAR racing either. Cheaters never win, and the officials will make sure of it.
One aspect of NASCAR racing that I don't like is the way races begin. As soon as you click on the Start Race button, you're out on the track with the rest of the cars starting from a dead stop. Real races start with cars already traveling at a good speed.
I can't say that's such a bad thing. Besides, it would be quite difficult to start in the pits and keep in formation while gaining speed back to get the green flag. Given how easy it is to smack into other cars, at least you get to get into the race without bagging up your car. Handling varies over time in a very realistic fashion. Over the course of a full-length race, your car develops an under- or oversteer problem. This requires car setup changes that make a big difference. Be careful not to adjust too much at once, or you may have a car that simply will not cooperate with you.
That is good advice. While adjusting the setup on your car, go slow. Read the instruction manual to find out what adjustments may help cure your handling problem. It's kind of reassuring to know that if you really mess up the car's handling attributes, you can always load the ACE setting. It's kind of cheating, but it will make you much more competitive.
NASCAR racing is a lot of fun to play. Many people will find themselves wasting valuable time trying to shave tenths of a second off their lap times. Like its predecessor, this game is highly addictive.
There's no doubt about it, but play this one with a driving controller though, as it's more fun than tapping at the keyboard. And also, take the time to learn the track before jumping into a racing season. And don't forget that it's okay to trade a little paint every now and then.
Rubbin says IE is racing. And they're right. All right. The pros of NASCAR racing.
NASCAR lets you configure virtually everything about your vehicle, from how it looks down to ridiculously detailed component setup. The level of realism is astounding. Cars look like cars, they sound like cars, and they even drive like cars.
Cars look like cars.
NASCAR racing does not have all the big-name drivers on the circuit, and the initial release offers only 9 tracks. Finally, the way the race starts from a dead stop may not appeal to some die-hard fans.
We should also try World Circuit and Indy car racing. Done and done, actually, no. As I said before, I am a bit of a hater of those kind of games. All right, next up, we are in the home stretch. Nova Storm time.
I didn't think I would like Nova Storm. It's a sequel to Microcosm, so I figured, okay, time for another nap. I was off by a mile. Nova Storm isn't just good, it's great.
It doesn't take much to be better than Microcosm, but you're right, Nova Storm is awesome. There's a lot of bad action games out there for the PC, and Nova Storm is proof positive that you can make a shooter for the PC that rivals anything the cartridge systems can do. In the distant future, humans have laid claim to thousands of planets. To cope with
Why?
the huge amounts of labor required to colonize these planets, and to help battle unwelcome aliens, human scientists have created Scarab, an enormous supercomputer with guns.
No!
Naturally, Scarab turns against his human creators and wreaks multi-planetary
Do not
havoc.
give guns
His
to a
last survival
supercomputer.
attempt is to create a
Those
squadron of
things,
experimental
no.
fighters, and that's where you come in. Once again, the fate of humanity is on your shoulders.
Nova Storm is a shooter and nothing but. That's not a slam, I'm just stating a fact. Like arcade games like Galaga and Xevious. Nova Storm offers
Like,
a quick fix for adrenaline
What if you
junkies
gave
and
Big
joystick
Blue
junkies.
guns?
Ew,
No.
How poetic. Yeah, this is a game of shooting, all right. You'll be bombarded by wave after wave of Scarab's death squads. Your only friends in the galaxy are your cannon and your smart bomb, so make the most of them. The enemy ships attack in formation waves, sort of like in Galaga. Sometimes they come from dead on, but more often than not, they try to sneak up on you from the side. You'll no sooner dispatch one formation when a new one zeroes in on you with all guns blazing.
The only way to stay alive in Nova Storm is to recognize the different wave configurations and remember how best to deal with each one. If you can find a hole in their firing pattern, you can annihilate the enemy formations totally, which has a good side effect.
You must mean the power-ups. Yep, you won't survive for too long with that puny one-shot cannon you start with. Whenever you kill all the ships in a formation,
Gotta love those
power-up token is
power-ups.
released.
To pick up a token, all you have to do is fly through it. This advances the meter at the bottom of the screen. When a power-up is available, you can either select it or hold onto your tokens until a more powerful weapon is within your reach. Utilizing the same technology as Microcosm, Nova Storm features some beautiful backdrops to fly against. And you can
This is
crash into the
3DO, I
terrain,
think,
too.
Mally. I
The
don't
graphics in
actually
Nova
think this is
Storm are
PS1. I'm
fast,
pretty
fast,
sure this
fast.
is
You just might
3DO.
get motion sick
The
playing this
classic
game.
3DO,
My
the
favorite
system
part of the
everyone
game
knows
is
and
the ice
loves.
world. There's a blizzard-like
Oh, it's
atmosphere
PC?
haze in
Okay.
front of you,
It.
and the
I don't know why I
enemy
thought this was
ships jump out at you
3DO.
barely
It has
warning.
3DO vibes
I'm
to
still
me.
shocked at how good a simple game like this can be.
And don't forget about the bosses. There's lots of boss enemies to kill, and some very interesting designs, too. The bosses tend to have localized vital points you'll have to hit to do any damage, and they look great.
You got that right. There are some of the best graphics I've seen in a PC shooter, and certainly the best of any good shooter. The rendered bosses are a real treat, and the designers even threw in a damage meter for them. Thank you, Signosis.
Thank you,
Nova Storm is one of
Signosis.
the best shooters I've ever seen for the PC.
Okay, so it
It's
does
an
have a
arcade quality
3DO port.
blast
Okay.
fest that should keep you entertained for a long time. Finally, we have a game that combines great graphics with near perfect gameplay.
It took a lot of slogging through crappy third-rate shooters to get here, but it was worth it. If you're a fan of coin-op style shooters, Nova Storm is a game you simply have to have. With great graphics and sound and enough action.
Debs VT, thanks for the
Nova Storm is
follow.
100% fun.
And let's check out the pros and cons.
The graphics and sound are great. The
New
backdrops
voice.
you fly through are beautiful and offer the additional challenge of avoiding crashing into the scenery while you fly.
I do have
The
a
gameplay
flat
is
colored
entirely
shaded
from
look
the
to me.
CD
That's why I'm
and
cool.
only installs about 400 bytes to the hard drive for configuration info and high scores.
And the cons.
There's no support for 4-button controllers like the Gravis gamepad, forcing you to select your power-ups with the keyboard. There's also no save game feature and no continue option.
We should also try
also included some
Microcosm,
references to
Rebel Assault, and
homosexuality
Tubular Worlds, and
within,
Fiona
within the
the
movie.
Foxy. Thank you so much for the follow.
Yes.
Do appreciate that. We're at Offworld Interceptor, an actual 3DO game. Let's see what they got to say
The
about this
monster
bad
truck
boy.
races have come home, and Big Daddy is armed with an impressive arsenal of weapons and firepower in Crystal Dynamics' latest 3DO release, Off-World Interceptor. This third-person behind-the-bumper game can
Running a little
easily
long
be
product.
compared to Total Eclipse, a third-person flying title, which was one of the first games for 3DO. Honestly, it looks like Crystal Dynamics has taken the Total Eclipse engine and flipped it sunny side up to create Off-World Interceptor. You play a bounty hunter searching for convicts in exchange for a hefty sum of cash. In essence, that futuristic spaceship from Total Eclipse has morphed into a four-wheel truck that doesn't stop for mud, thugs, or enemy rockets. The game offers three
Total
play modes,
Eclipse,
including
man,
story
that's
and
a
arcade
fucking
options
game.
for one-player action. The action option allows players to roll through any of the 5 planets, whereas the story mode has a set course, which is interspersed with the customary full-motion video scenes. The final and most exciting mode is Battle, which allows 2 players to complete in split-screen action. This mode is extremely fun to play and, in my opinion, makes Off-World one of the best 2-player titles on 3DO. But when we subtract a player from the equation, what's left is a single-player game which is so packed with action that the word mayhem comes to mind. Pick from one of many futuristic vehicles and hit the road, Jack. The planets in the game include beautiful terrain and interesting enemies, but at times the action can get a little too hot and heavy. To keep things hopping, each vehicle can be armed with a variety of weapons, including missiles, plasma guns, and nuclear blasts. As players progress through the interplanetary race circuit, they'll gain more money to purchase add-ons for the car. Off-World Interceptor is an out-of-this-world experience, but I felt at times that the designers needed to intercept and destroy one of the obstacles in the levels. There's a little too much carnage, almost enough to give the player a headache, not to mention a sore thumb. This is especially annoying in the one-player version, which is also flawed by the omission of a save game feature. Still, the 2-player mode provides great in-your-face action, but just make sure you've got that roll bar firmly secured.
Okay, let's see the pros and the cons of this bad boy.
The monster
As always, the eye candy in this 3DO title is sweet, and the music sounds great. I like the numerous game options, including the story or arcade mode, and the 2-player mode really does save this game from a quick death.
But the cons?
The 1-player game can become very confusing after a short period of time. There's a fine line between heart-stopping action and asking the player to blow the entire landscape to smithereens, and Off-World sometimes crosses it. Finally, the lack of a save game feature in this day and age is nothing short of appalling. It's not a SNES, folks. The machine has non-volatile RAM for this very purpose.
It's not a SNES, folks. Anyways, we should play Total Eclipse, Road Rash, and Need for Speed. Done and done. Operation Body Count.
What do childbirth, gastric upheaval, tax audits, and Ishtar have in common? Simple. They're all much more engaging and pleasurable than Operation Body Count,
Woo!
Capstone's new attempt to squeeze some extra money out of the outdated Wolfenstein 3D engine. A truly painful knockoff, Body Count is insulting to anyone who's seen a computer game in the last 3 years. In Body Count, your mission is to wipe out the terrorist force that has seized the United Nations building. You'll be facing ugly terrorists in ugly surroundings, which makes for an ugly experience. The graphics are just plain bad. But continuity is in Capstone's favor, since the sounds are ridiculous too. This, for
Wolfenstein,
example,
folks.
is the sound of your shotgun being fired. See what I mean? persistent badness. What's a slime monster doing in a terrorist-controlled government office building? Who cares?
Filing
Not Capcom, that's for
paperwork?
sure.
Jesus.
Body Count blatantly disregards its own plot, a good indication of how much time and effort was put into the game. This could be forgiven if the game was in any way fun, but if you've ever played a Wolfenstein 3D type game, you'll quickly see that Body Count has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Body Count is the Plan 9 from outer space of Wolfenstein clones, except that it has
Wow.
no comedic value. The graphics are bad.
Yeah,
The
this looks
sounds are among
really
the worst
bad.
I've
I want to
ever
play
heard, and
this.
the gameplay?
Toilet sound!
Well,
We have
you could be
toilet!
reorganizing your sock drawer instead. Body Count is a loser of embarrassing proportions, a pathetic rehash that makes Corridor 7 look like Quake in comparison.
Oof. Okay, but what do you really think about Operation Body Count?
The game moves at a decent clip, and the opening cutscene is fair. And it installs less than 6 megs onto your hard drive, so it can be deleted quickly.
And the cons?
The graphics are boring and ugly. The sounds are so terrible they provide the only comic relief associated with this game. The animation is quick, but very choppy. You spend far too much time shooting at rats before you even get to the terrorists.
Yeah.
The gameplay is uninspired, to say the absolute least.
We should also try Wolfenstein 3D, gotta get it right. Corridor 7 in Blake Stone. Okay, let's go. Quarantine!
The computer game world is not suffering from any great lack of first-person shooters these days.
That's true.
Despite the recent storm of Doom-offs, Quarantine from GameTech is a genuine standout, or sit-out, given that you never get out of your car.
True enough, while the perspective may seem familiar, Quarantine is a whole nother animal. It adds a minor adventure element and a heavily armed taxicab to the mix and ends up feeling completely unique.
GameTech has written a long history of Chemo City, where the game takes place.
Chemo City? Oh, K-E-M-O.
All that matters is that you're a taxicab driver in an urban environment gone insane. While the general populace has not turned into vicious demons or brain-dead zombies, they have developed a strange tendency to stand in the middle of the street and blast away at oncoming traffic.
Oh.
The object of the game is to get out of Dodge. You've pretty much had all
Oh,
you
the
can
quest
take at
markers
this
don't
town
work
hall,
in this
and you
game?
try to
That's...
take it on the lam.
Unfortunately, the city is entirely walled in. The only hope of escape is to make your way through the different sections of Chemo to the wharf and get on a boat. You can only go from one section to the next with special passwords.
You only get those passwords from rebellious citizens after you successfully take some of them to their destinations on time.
There's another important reason to pick up passengers, which is they'll give you cash. You'll definitely need big bucks to repair your car after a little while on the cruel Chemo roads. These guys don't know the meaning of the term defensive driving.
Well, sure, the repairs are important, but you also need to give as good as you get in the damage department. That's why I like to visit my local Weapon King to have the cab fixed up with all the latest in the technology of violence. Check out the flamethrower.
Do you love the technology of
Chemo
violence?
City, you need to learn to use your map. Any destination you have in mind, from repair shops to passenger drop-offs, can be highlighted here. And then, when you return to the windshield view, you can use the Wayfinder to locate it.
But don't just try to drive by these arrows alone. You need the map to follow the most direct route. And if you deliver a passenger too slowly, it'll mean a reduction in your fare, not to mention threatening comments from your passenger.
If you have a CD-ROM drive, you'll get to enjoy a little more character development. I know this is important for you method actors in the audience to really be able to feel the game. To this end, the cab driver, Drake Edgewater, gets his own little music video to the tune of a Born to Be Wild ripoff.
Now this part is completely
I wanna
gratuitous,
see.
but the digitized video is excellent, and it bodes well for the look of the upcoming GameTech cinema releases.
Another interesting element of the CD-ROM version is that if you
GameTech
dump the whole
cinema
program onto your
releases.
hard drive, you can listen to your audio CDs while you drive.
You call that driving? No, seriously. This is a great idea, and it suits the game so well. I only wish they could have figured a way to overlay the game's sound effects over the CD music and create the ultimate virtual driving experience.
There are lots of good things to say about Quarantine, and one really annoying bad one.
I think I know what you mean, so let's both say it real loud at the same time. Copy protection. Ugh.
I do understand the need for this kind of thing. I know that the whole game can be downloaded to your buddy's computer as well as your own, but did they have to make the code this annoying?
Well, at least it has an amusing idea behind it. You look up the code on the enclosed pedestrian weight-to-impact ratio table. It's sort of a splatometer.
Great, but it comes up every single time you want to play the game. It would be hard to read the chart anyway, because it's a huge grid of numbers, but on top of that, they chose to print the darn thing in black on maroon to foil the Xerox theme.
Boo.
Do you feel better now?
Yes, much. Let's talk about happy things now.
This is a very engaging game. The graphics are great and they zip right along. It's also interesting to note that despite the obvious superficial similarities, Quarantine feels nothing like a Doom clone.
Yeah, I guess it's because you have the freedom of the highway instead of being trapped in a room with a menacing thingy. But it feels like a hyped up.
I
version
hate
of bumper
menacing
cars.
thingies.
Quarantine is permeated by a morbid sense of humor, as you might have guessed, but there are a few features that have no bearing on the game and are just for laughs. In addition to these wicked weapons, you can still honk your horn or let out with a
Baby
robust
days.
Up yours!
at the touch of a key.
Baby
And the
days.
best place to drive, in my opinion, is the park. It's a lot easier to
Hey,
take
Swell
someone
Time,
to their
welcome.
destination in record
We are
time
getting
when
near
you
the end
hardly
of the
have to bother
CD.
with roads. Drive as the crow flies. It's fun. But you don't want to do that for too long, since your battery only keeps you aloft without the power grids under the road for 30 seconds, and then you start scraping pavement and taking damage. Quarantine is a lot of vicious fun. It's the ultimate stress reliever for highway drivers. Soon you'll wish you had heat seekers mounted on your car to take care of the guy in front of you driving way too slow.
Actually, it's good when people drive slow. It means that they're going to be less likely to hit someone. I'm just saying. I'm just
This is
saying.
a fast-moving, exciting ride of a game. It feels more like intensified bumper cars than a Doom clone. Lots of bullets and blood, and great atmospheric sounds.
And the cons to
The
quarantine.
copy protection that pops up every time you start the game is a real
Ian
icebreaker.
Oblivion, thank
There
you
should be
so
some
much for
way
the
to override
sub.
this
Thank
after you've
you.
proved yourself worthy.
And we should also try Zephyr, Delta 5, and Cyber Race. I do like me a Cyber Race. All right, Stalingrad, what do you got to say about
When
this?
Avalon Hill and Atomic Games decided that Stalingrad would be the next entry in their World at War series, they took on quite a challenge. The battle was waged over a 6-month period, and literally thousands of units were involved, meaning that this wouldn't be a war game that could be covered in a couple of easy scenarios. There was also the problem of audience expectations. Atomic has developed a tradition of designing campaign games in its V for Victory series and Operation Crusader. However, that approach would have been a difficult one for a game based on Stalingrad, given the complexity of the Soviet counteroffensive that eventually reclaimed the city for the Russians. In the end, Atomic decided to break Stalingrad down into 7 mini-campaigns, featuring 3 difficulty levels. The decision turned out to be a good one, since wargamers are likely to find that Stalingrad is going to be a very playable release, despite all of its detail. World at War fans are going to find a few new features in Stalingrad. The
Okay, thank you, Clip, for the info about the Game Tech Cinema. So it was going to be a short-lived line of movies released on CD-ROM. Oh man, they had Robotech? How did they get the rights from Harmony Gold?
Almost a necessity given the size of the game. The overview map shows the battle lines along the entire front. While battle orders can't be given from the map, it should prove invaluable in keeping track of the various units located up and down the frontier. There's also an online order of battle. It doesn't include the dates of the arrival of each unit, but it will provide valuable information on each player's chain of command. Atomic also tried to address the concerns some gamers had about play balance in Stalingrad by including a number of additional hypothetical and historical options. On the Axis side, most of the new options are related to additional formations and their date of availability. The Soviet side gets a number of new options in the area of initiatives, logistics, and communication. As one of the turning points of World War II, the Battle of Stalingrad has been exhaustively researched by numerous historians. In Stalingrad, Atomic Games and Avalon Hill are putting together a game which should stand up to the scrutiny
So
of
it was
most
kind of like a
ardent
bootleg
wargamers.
Robotech, because the wonderful world of Harmony Gold and all that shit is just way above me. All right, Star Wars Arcade. I almost said Star Trek. I apologize. Star Wars Arcade 32X.
It is a period of civil war, and rebel
Do you think they're gonna like the
spaceships have
32X?
won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire. But wait, this time the battle is waged against the evil Interactive Empire in Star Wars Arcade for the newly released Sega 32X. Expect some high-stakes space battles as you board your X-Wing spaceship and prepare to meet the dark side. Would anyone have a tic-tac?
Star Wars Arcade is one of the first two titles for Sega's 32X accessory, which can be added to any existing Sega Genesis. More importantly, the game is one of the first good flight simulators to appear on a cartridge platform. Although Thunderstrike on the Sega CD and Pilot Wings on Super Nintendo were great titles, there really haven't been any exciting flight simulators until now. Star Wars Arcade is an exact replica of the arcade version, and Sega has added an enhanced 32X mode which adds 4 new and more complicated levels to the equation.
After suiting up for space combat, you're launched into orbit, so get ready for those luscious green laser blasts, and as always, use the Force. The mission
Honestly, this isn't a bad
blow up everything on the
C-3PO.
screen using lasers and proton torpedoes. The graphics in Star Wars Arcade are great for a polygon-based title, although they lack shading and texture mapping. What results is a game that plays very smoothly, and you can look at the action from inside the cockpit or from an external trailing camera perspective. What do you think of Star Wars Arcade, Chewie? And you are too? It looks like we have a consensus. The gang likes the game.
Considering that Star Wars Arcade is one of the first titles released for the 32X, I'm impressed. This game could be considered X-Wing Light, as it doesn't include all the complicated controls from the PC game, but it does maintain the fun and stunning graphics which made X-Wing a big hit. I found that later levels can be tough to complete, especially when you need to complete a level at 100% accuracy to advance. Although the game is not as visually stunning as Rebel Assault, the gameplay is as precise as a lightsaber. If Star Wars Arcade is a sign of things to come on 32X, it looks like the system has a bright future.
All right, but what are the pros and cons?
This game is a great translation of its arcade counterpart, showing the strength of the 32X hardware. The graphics move fast, but the most important factor is the game's intuitive control.
And the cons?
Texture-mapped graphics would have been a nice addition, and players used to the numerous controls in X-Wing and TIE Fighter may feel the game is too simplistic. Moreover, at times the game can become extremely hard, and the arcade mode is relatively short.
We should also try X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and Total Eclipse. I think there was another game. Off-Road Interceptor. They also said we should look at Total Eclipse. So I guess you got to play Total Eclipse, people.
Welcome to part 1 IE System Shock Hints. So,
Did I
you
do
wanna
this
be a hacker,
voice?
eh, kid? Well, let me tell you, it ain't easy. But hang with me and I'll show you the ropes. First thing you gotta do is figure out.
Do you think he's
them
going to keep the
access
voice up the
panels.
entire
I
time?
know you've been all filled up in your fancy school about the theories and all that, but it's different when you got a bunch of muties wanting you for lunch. Their lunch. Here she is. Looks complicated, don't she? Well, she ain't all that hard to persuade. Thing you gotta
The
watch is that
perfect
energy gauge
System
at the
Shock
top light.
voice.
When it goes up, you done good. When it goes down, well, just put her back the way she was before you made her move. Now grab a hold to the left end of this here green wire. Take the left end and plug her in somewhere. No matter where, just so long as she's different is all. Now that she's plugged back in, look at your energy gauge. A little bit better, but not enough. You keep poking around with the left end of that wire till you knows what position she likes best and leave her be. Don't worry so much about them other wires. They take care of themselves eventually so long as you make sure you don't lose none of that energy while you're fixing the green one. Now we can start messing with the other end of that wire.
Yeah, this
Take
is
right into that old
voiced
green
by
wire
the
and plug
guy
her in
on
somewhere else,
Phalanx
like the
box
bottom.
art.
Geez, that ain't no good. Look at that dang gauge. Keep
I'm
on
fine,
moving
I'm
that wire
fine.
till you
I'm
find the
just
sweet
crying a
spot. You
little.
See how easy it is? We just fool with one wire, and we're nearly done. How about we stay with the holiday spirit and go messing with the red wire? Grab the right end and wiggle her around some. Mostly, it seems like they solve themselves. Looky here. The only other wire we needed to fool with was the red one. The rest of them got fixed without us touching them. Of course, you got tired of all these shenanigans, you can just grab a logic probe or pop one of them genius patches on your arm and do it the easy way, but that wouldn't be no fun now, would it? Now, here's a little example of the other kind of panel.
I'm
If
just
the
letting
most of
him
the
talk.
switches ain't
Go
next
off,
to
King.
each other, all you got to do is go and turn them on. But if they's all packed in together like these here, then it gets a mite more involved. Since we got us 2 gates, it's even nastier. But don't fret none. Start by turning off any switches that are next to the start or finish. Otherwise, you'll get things nearly all the way solved and flip that last switch only to turn off one end or t'other. What you're trying to do, see, is build up a trail of X's up to each side of that gate in the center and all the way to both ends. Mostly you do this by turning adjacent switches that ain't needed off and on till you get what you want. Kind of like setting up dominoes so they fall down just That's right. When everything's all lined up, you flip the switch right next to the start or finish, and she lights up like a Christmas tree. Now that you know how to do it the hard way, you can use all that book learning for important things like shooting that Sec 1 bot over there. Thanks. I think you'll do all right.
I don't know what to say about that one other than incredible voice.
If you've ever wanted to build a world-spanning transportation corporation, you can't live without Transport Tycoon. If you have no interest in the transport business, you'll still love the game.
Microprose can do no wrong, can they? Transport Tycoon is yet another superlative strategy game from these wizards, and it's frighteningly addictive, too.
Transport Tycoon is played from a zoomable isometric viewpoint with SVGA graphics. That means the game looks great, and it can fit a lot of information on the screen at once.
You'll need all that, too. Transport Tycoon is a very busy game. To control the action, all you need is this icon bar. From there, you'll get all the tools you need.
You start the game with nothing to your name, save for a debt to pay off. You'll have to start off small, probably by building a bus service in one of the bigger towns. First you build a depot, then a couple bus stations, and then a bus.
When you build a new vehicle, a window opens up allowing you to give it orders. You simply highlight the stops you want it to make and let it go. It can't get much simpler. As you provide transportation services, the towns in the game world will begin to grow. This in turn provides you with more opportunities to make lots and lots of money.
I like the way you interact with the towns. You can build roads and their infrastructure, but you don't control the towns. They respond to the services you provide. To give the game a little bit of focus, subsidies have been included. From time to time, a municipality will offer increased profits for the first transport company to provide a particular service.
Once in a while, this will be an easy task, like providing passenger transport between two neighboring towns. But usually it involves connecting.
Okay, I didn't know you could do that,
They often
Jobberwock.
work, though,
I will
fast
have to
because
play
your
this so
opponents
I
won't
can
hesitate.
smash through
Once
trucks
you make some
and
money
destroy
and are able to
trucking
pay off your debt,
businesses.
you can shift your focus from buses and trucks to bigger projects, like railroads, ships, and airports.
Naturally, this is where the really big money is. The further you transport something, the bigger the payoff. If you can establish a busy long-distance airline, you can sit back and watch yourself get rich. They've thought of everything in this game, including local government. Yes, you'll have to deal with town and city councils. Sometimes they're friendly, but sometimes they'll forbid you to build.
You can perform a lot of actions within the towns and cities, from waging ad campaigns to buying exclusive transportation rights. The game doesn't need any extra features, but this is a good one to have. The one thing I didn't like is that there seems to be a cap on the number of transport services that can be built in one game. This can bring about a premature end to an otherwise interesting game.
That bugged me too. In one game, I managed to coexist with other companies, but I got to the point where I couldn't build anything anywhere. The opportunities were there, I just couldn't do anything with them.
Despite one flaw, Transport Tycoon is a fantastic
You know, I've been
game.
curious about
When you're not interested in a
OpenTTD.
game's
I should
subject
give it a
matter,
shot.
And you love the game anyway, you know you're onto a good thing. Congratulations, Microprose.
I didn't think I would like this game, and now I can't stop playing it. Microprose has combined the great graphics and interface of SimCity 2000 with the strategy of Railroad Tycoon. For all you sim and strategy fans, this is a must-have.
Okay, Transport Tycoon, pretty good.
The graphics are great, and the interface is very easy to use. The game is easy to learn, yet has a great deal of strategy to it. It's a highly addictive game that's very hard to walk away from.
And the cons.
The game occasionally suffers from information overload since there are so many things that you are running simultaneously. More seriously, the limit to the amount of transport services that can fit in one game is extremely annoying when you encounter it.
We should also try Railroad Tycoon, makes sense, and SimCity 2000. Well. U.S. Navy fighters.
You have two choices if you want to be a carrier pilot. You
Got
can
it.
join the Navy and go to flight school, or you can buy U.S. Navy fighters from Electronic Arts.
I'll just join the
Which would you
Navy.
recommend?
That's a tough one. I happen to think you'd look absolutely fantastic in a Navy uniform, but I know you've established a lucrative, rewarding career at IE. I guess I'd advise you to go out and buy U.S. Navy fighters.
Serious flight sim fans have been eagerly awaiting this game, and it won't disappoint. It looks great, the flight model is very accurate, it captures the feel of landing and taking off from an aircraft carrier better than any other flight sim I've ever seen, and it even sounds good.
This is where the official writing manual calls for you to drop in a but.
Okay. But this isn't a game for everyone. It's very complex and demands a lot of your computer. You really need a Pentium 90 with 8 megabytes of RAM and a fast graphics card to run this properly. Use anything less and you'll end up missing some of the best elements.
EA's design team has done some marvelous things with US Navy fighters, beginning with the flight model. It's not so hard that you won't be able to complete a mission, but it does a good job of capturing the unique problems of taking off and landing from a moving target.
Once you get airborne, you'll enjoy the realistic combat. The game comes with a number of training missions, which you'll definitely want to complete before you start tangling with the enemy on an official basis.
Yeah, this
The
looks like it
reality
would
of the
make a
combat is
computer
enhanced
die,
by the fact
like
that you
it's
can
too
actually
graphically
keep your head on a
advanced.
swivel. By moving the hat on your
Great looking
flight stick
game,
in different
though, from
directions, your
screenshots.
point of view will smoothly scroll around.
You won't want to turn the sound off when you're playing US Navy fighters. Not only is it well done, but the digitized voice assistance lends some real help when you're flying a mission. This will all sound even better if you have a 16-bit sound card. When you're in the campaign mode, you'll get video briefings on the progress of your missions. This wasn't my favorite part of the game. I didn't feel as though the characters playing the officers were very realistic, and the uniforms were a little off.
Do you like the
Getting back to the
FMV?
hardware warning we gave you back at the beginning of this review, US Navy will run on 386s and low-end 486s, but you'll be missing a lot because you have to turn off a lot of the details. A 486-66 with 8 megabytes of RAM and a fast video card is about the minimum if you want to fully experience this game.
Also, this runs in protected mode with a far-lap DOS extender, which might not be compatible with all systems. This is a complicated game, and you'll probably need to do some work to get it to run properly on your computer. Don't let all that techno mumble-jumble scare you away, though. US Navy Fighters is a very complex game, but it's worth the work.
Okay.
You're not really flying when you play this game, but you'll be enjoying yourself so much that you
I can't
won't
get over how
notice
good
the
this
difference.
this looks.
In addition to its outstanding flight and combat models, US Navy Fighters allows you to actually look around and see what's going on during a battle. By using the hat on your flight stick, you're able to smoothly scroll around and change your point of view in very realistic fashion.
And the cons.
You really need a powerful computer to run this properly.
Yeah.
The minimum requirement is a 386-33, but if you try to run this game on that sort of setup, you'll need to turn off virtually all of the detail.
You should also try Aces of the Pacific, Carrier Command, and Chuck Yeager's Air Combat. Okay, I'll try out Chuck Yeager's Air Combat. All right, Virtual Racing 32X.
Virtual Racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Sega has the pole position in the hot 32-bit systems race, and their starting car is none other than the smash arcade hit Virtua Racing. Now they've added Deluxe to the title and spiced up this already hot Genesis title for play on the 32X machine. So as we enter the first turn, slam on those brakes and shift up a gear. It's time for some true rock and roll racing. Virtua Racing Deluxe includes all the perks of the cartridge version and obviously enhances the title technically from 16-bit to 32-bit. Thankfully, Sega has gone the extra mile and even added some new features for the 32X version. These include 2 new tracks which aren't even in the arcade version, including a desert track, and they look terrific. Also, in addition to the regular race car, you can choose between a stock car and a new prototype vehicle, which is very hard to steer, but interesting to race with. All in all, there is a lot more substance here than just fancy new graphics. The gameplay in this title is untouched from its Genesis counterpart, and it controls just like a nicely lubed Indy car. In essence, Sega hasn't taken the wrench to this title in the gameplay department, but they've significantly upgraded the graphics. If you thought this game was fast on the Genesis, the 32X version will give you whiplash. I often thought I was playing the arcade version. There's a nice instant replay feature available at the end of the race, which allows for multiple camera views, similar to IndyCar on the PC. As we see the checkered flag in the distance, there's no question that Virtua Racing is going to win this race. It's a rip-roaring bundle of gears and gameplay which is truly spectacular to play. This title is more fun to play
Rip-roaring
than
gears
Star
and
Wars
gameplay.
Arcade, but both titles will ignite Sega's 32X on fire. So race down your street and mosey into the store to check out Virtua Racing Deluxe. The 32X version leaps even closer to true virtual racing.
What are the pros?
This game handles better than any other racing simulation I've played. Coupled with blazing fast polygon graphics and some great new courses, Virtua Racing Deluxe is one of the most polished and impressive cartridges I've played in quite some time.
I misheard what he said is horses instead of courses, and now I'm thinking of virtual racing, but it's a bunch of horses.
It would have been nice if the instant replay feature was available at any point during the race, not just at the end, and I would have appreciated a way to rewind and fast forward the replay. I was also unimpressed with the music in this title compared to the wonderful orchestrated score in Star Wars Arcade.
Okay, and we should also try IndyCar racing, Daytona, of course, and Club Drive. Okay. Daytona, let's go away. Warcraft, Orcs, and Humans.
Welcome to our hints and tips for Blizzard Entertainment's real-time strategy game, Warcraft.
Okay.
To begin, click on the topic that interests you. When you're finished, click Done to return to the article listing. The first important rule of scouting is to take your military units and expose an area surrounding your camp. Start in the corner of your encampment closest to the center of the map and explore in a spiral pattern. The wider an area you cover, the sooner you'll spot approaching enemies and the more time you'll have to get troops into a position to stop them. The best troops to use for scouting are archers and spearmen. When moving, they can only see 3 spaces away like other troops. However, when they stop, they can see 5 spaces, which gives them a lot more bang.
Ooh la la.
In a dungeon setting, the best point units are knights and wolf riders. These units are fast enough to retreat from an approaching monster without taking damage, and lure it into a deadly hail of missiles.
Formations.
Early on, the best formation to use is 2 ranks of troops, a row of missile troops behind a row of foot soldiers or cavalry. As enemies approach, they'll get pounded by missiles, and up close, melee troops can double team them. This lets you pick off lone attackers with little
Getting
or no
pounded and
damage to
double
your
teamed
troops.
here? Okay.
Once catapults enter the picture, however,
Buy me dinner
the equation
first,
changes
Christ.
dramatically. Since catapults can wipe out several of your pieces at once, you should avoid bunching them up. A good formation for defending against catapults is a triangular layout like this. It gives your missile troops overlapping fields of fire, while keeping them spaced far enough apart that a single catapult can't wipe out more than one at a time. Here, the computer has placed archers on either side of a bridge. With enough archers, this makes it very difficult to cross. To use this tactic, you must explore the far bank of the river so the archers or spearmen get a clear shot at anything approaching the bridge. If your opponent sends a catapult to try and break up your defenses, select the troops it looks like it wants to shoot at and tell them to move directly away from the catapult as soon as it fires. This should prevent you from losing more than a couple at one blow.
All right, but what about production?
Production is the essence of winning a game of Warcraft. As long as you have a viable mine and nearby forests, your ability to produce is limited only by the number of workers, that is, peasants or peons, you can sustain. Early on, it's important to make several workers to form a strong economic base. Don't forget, though, the workers can't defend themselves. If you need to build another farm, it's time to start thinking about making some military pieces. In general, you should assign more workers to harvest lumber than gold, since chopping wood takes longer. Later in the game, if you find yourself needing more of a commodity, it isn't necessarily the best plan to make more workers. Rather, switch some of them from gold to lumber, or vice versa as necessary. By the same token, cutting off an enemy's production capability will cripple his ability to create new troops, allowing you to win by attrition. The most obvious way to accomplish this is to squash his peons, but if you can interpose a squad between his town and the nearest gold mine, you can completely disable his ability to make new units by exhausting his supply of gold.
And last but not least, technology.
This chart shows the technology progression in Warcraft. Links in the chart indicate where one type of building is necessary to construct another.
Oh.
Clicking on a unit type will highlight the buildings necessary to create units of that type. Clicking on Orcs and Humans will toggle the screen between the 2 races.
So that's for peasant. That's for that guy. Okay, this is just, yeah, we don't need to click through all of these. But let's see what the orcs look like. Orcs. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, you got to go all this way to create this nasty man. I love this nasty orc in the corner. That's me in my nasty cloak. I'm the nasty orc in the nasty cloak. Wing Armada.
In Episode 3 of IE, we reviewed an advanced copy of Wing Commander Armada. As fate would have it, Origin decided to push their summer schedule back to the fall, and Armada's release was held for a couple of months. As you might imagine, the game's designers were not idle during that time, so we at IE feel we were beholden to take another look at the final release version of the game. Armada is a good preview of the flight engine that will be featured in Wing Commander 3. Armada is a very simple game that includes 3 very distinct gameplay options. Gauntlet mode, in which you basically just fly till you die, Campaign mode consisting of a series of missions with an ultimate goal, and Armada mode, with a simple strategy element for players who are sick of pure action. The strategy game really isn't strong enough to stand on its own, but then again, it doesn't have to. Some of the new features included in Armada are the visual representation of shield hits, a toggle key to turn off the cockpit graphics, and modem or network play. As you might expect, Armada's graphics have been beefed up since Wing 2, and enemy pilot artificial intelligence has been substantially enhanced. Instead of simply flying straight towards you blazing away, they'll use every trick in the book to get you before you can get them. Of all the added features, head-to-head play is Armada's strongest selling point. If you're pining for a good multiplayer action game, look no further. From a pure action standpoint, Armada is a very good game, and head-to-head play is something Wing Commander fans have been clamoring for since the beginning. As a single-player game, Armada probably isn't as good as Wing 3 will be, but if you have access to a modem or network, it's a must-have.
All right, let's take a look at the pros and cons.
Armada's graphics are the best of the series yet. The extra touches, like being able to see the shields, are intense, and of course, best of all, is that it's multiplayer.
And the cons.
The strategy elements of Armada and campaign modes aren't going to attract jaded Civ fans to this game. The Gauntlet mode also is the same every time, which can get tiring.
All right, we should also try Star Crusader, Wing Commander 2, and Wing Commander Academy. All right, we got one more game and then the stream is over. It's time for Zephyr.
I just spent the day playing Zephyr.
Yeah?
And you know, I'm in a really bad mood.
Could that be due to the game's general badness?
I think that would have something to do with it. Zephyr is a bad game, and it ain't no fun neither.
Maybe we should stop talking about it.
No, we have to warn people about its lack of goodness. It's like our civic duty.
Zephyr's one of those hybrid games. That means the designers couldn't make up their minds what they wanted to do.
It's a racing game. It's a shooter. It slices, dices, purees, juliennes, even cuts diamonds. Isn't that amazing?
No.
Well, maybe not, but the premise had potential. Racing and shooting with hover tanks is a cool idea.
Remember Cyber Race?
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
See Zephyr's intro. See it be ugly. Ugly, Zephyr. Ugly.
So I take it you were not overly impressed by the cinematic introduction?
You played it. What do you think?
I think it's slow. I think it's really slow. I clocked it at 2 frames per second. That's slow. If it were any slower, it would be a slideshow.
We're really gonna pan this game, aren't we?
I am. I'm not sure why you're here.
Let's mention the one good thing about Zephyr before we get carried away.
Good idea. What's that?
The sound. I thought the sound was really excellent, mostly because of the way it sounded.
Oh yeah, I did too, now that you remind me. See, listen to this. Now that's good sound, as opposed to sound that's more bad.
Now that we've done a redeeming quality bit, let's trash the game's graphics.
Good. I was getting bored saying nice things. I thought the graphics were really ugly and stuff. Like when you see something that doesn't look good, Zephyr's like that.
All the tanks look pasted in like someone tacked them onto a background. And then there's the colors.
Those buildings are, like, yellow. That's stupid looking. This game looks like, I don't know, like a Saturday morning cartoon for girls.
The back of the box says that Zephyr supports multiplayer games.
It says that twice. I counted.
Then you open the box and there's this card. Dear consumer, we haven't finished writing the game you just bought. Just be cool and we'll get around to it.
I've seen this happen before. Here's a good idea. If a game isn't finished yet, don't release it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I stayed up nights working on it.
You do 2 things in Zephyr, race and shoot tanks. I could figure out how to shoot tanks, but the part where you're supposed to be racing confused me.
Oh, good. Then it wasn't just me. There's, like, no racetrack or anything. Just cities. Now, maybe I'm just stupid, but racing without a track is one of those things that doesn't make sense.
Like line dancing?
Yeah, except the music's better.
One of the worst things about Zephyr is its speed, because it ain't be got none.
That's a fancy way of saying it's slow. It is, you know. Slow, I mean.
This is supposed to be an arcade racing game. It doesn't feel like one, though, because it's so slow. It's choppy and slow, and I don't like it.
You probably wouldn't notice as much if you drank a lot. Maybe that's what New World Computing was counting on.
That I'd be drunk when I played it?
Hey, I'm not the only one in the world who makes unrealistic demands on other people.
Zephyr's just a
All right, you heard the folks.
game.
Drink.
It's got good sound. but
Drink,
that's
drink,
it.
drink
Stay
when you play
away from it.
Zephyr.
I didn't, but it's my job to play bad games.
I would have liked this game if it weren't for all the bad things about it. This could be one of those presents that you buy for people that you don't really like. If a stranger offers you candy, asks you to get into a car with him, or asks you to play Zephyr, tell him no.
All right, let's done. All right, we looked at it all. Are there any ads? These are just demos. Okay, I was hoping for ads. I want ads. That's it. That's Interactive Entertainment issue 9 in the bag. Let's go.
Keep an eye on IE for our forthcoming coverage of Cinema Online's Space Quest 6.
Seraphis Kane, thank you for the bits. And thank you for the wishes of luck. I appreciate it. All right, Xena, one more horse for the road. Xena, give me a horse. There we go. More horse. More horse. There we go. All right. Nothing could be finer than to be an onliner on the internet. Thank you everyone for watching the stream. I know this one was a little wild because we lost power during it and it's a little longer than usual. But I do appreciate everyone showing up, watching, everything. I really do. I will be back either much later in March or at the beginning of April, when we finally moved in and got everything adjusted and all that good stuff. So it'll be a while before I'm back, but I will be back. Don't worry. I don't have anything to tell you in the meantime because I was going to say Retro Pals is also on hiatus until the move is complete. So, you know. So yeah, thank you everybody for the well wishes for the move. I really do appreciate it. It should be fine. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the new place. I think I mentioned it, but the new place is on a bus line, and it's on a bus line that takes me to my favorite boba place. So I'm like, okay, I'm happy. It's the first time I've been on a bus line in a while, so I'm like, yay. All right, folks, let me see who we can raid. Let's see who could we raid? Oh, Ian Oblivion, thank you for the 222 boba bits. I appreciate it. You know, I don't think I've ever raided them. Let's raid Murphigator here. They've only been up for a little bit. Boom. Let's give them a raid. And there we go. Folks, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will be back in April, maybe late March, with more streams, more interactive entertainment, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next month. Bye.